You know you've made a few pretty significant mistakes in your life when a simple Google search of your name returns a link to your Kiwi Farms thread as the first result. Even worse is when that thread is in excess of 1,400 pages and growing steadily, each post dedicated solely to documenting, discussing, and speculating upon every single move you make in your public life on the internet. Worse still, when someone decides to check YouTube to see what you're all about, a search of your channel yields results of videos about you instead of by you. These are the telltale signs that you are not an entertainer, but the entertainment. The vast majority of views and therefore revenue produced by your presence going directly into the pocket of the people talking about you while you struggle to get by, and every attempt you make to silence them and put the money back in your own pocket only helps them to grow richer. This is the position that the Foodie Beauty has found herself in, her seemingly only recourse to leave the internet and find a real job. However, that simply isn't possible. By their nature alone, the chance of any e-celebrity actually leaving the limelight and returning to the workforce is very low, but she, being the subject of this sort of dedicated collective of internet anthropologist curiosity, makes it nearly impossible for her to find any kind of meaningful or fulfilling employment opportunities. This does not, however, mean that it is the fault of her onlookers that she is stuck in this position. Their attention is a direct result of her actions. She has no one to blame for her situation but herself. But, to be fair to her, the chances of ever returning to her particular line of work was pretty much down the toilet before she even started pursuing YouTube as a career, long before she became the subject of nearly weekly controversy and daily discussion. But before we answer any questions in regards to how she became trapped in this digital Sisyphean prison, eating food for the camera just to be able to afford food to eat for the camera, we first have to find out how she got here. This is the story of Foodie Beauty. Born Chantal Marie Olive in 1984, the Foodie Beauty is a 35-year-old Canadian mukbang YouTuber. According to her YouTube About Me section, her channel is about, quote, an unapologetic fat girl who loves food, fashion, and vlogging. This is not a weight loss channel. Welcome. Anyone with even a passing familiarity with Chantal knows that this is far from an accurate description. One more fitting would read, a morbidly obese woman struggling with a severe doctor-diagnosed eating disorder and rapidly deteriorating mental and physical health, brought on by her refusal to address her addiction to food in any meaningful way, and her constant need to antagonistically engage with anyone who has even the slightest criticism of her, regardless of their intention. If you were to try and gauge the kind of person Chantal is by clicking on one of her videos at random, if you were to try and judge this book by its cover, you'd be inclined to think that she was just your typical basic female with a rather obvious addiction to food, who shares just a little too much. Most of her stories are boring, albeit disgusting. She seems like a bit of a dork, her friends are all nerds. But if we peel back the layers just a little bit, if you can stomach the unsettling way she eats and her propensity for discussing bodily functions in great detail, you'll find someone who is self-absorbed, cruel, vindictive, and quite possibly the most impulsive person you will ever find on this platform. Basically, she's the kind of girl that most guys only put up with because they're knockdown, drag-out gorgeous. Which is why the men she's surrounded herself with are either self-admittedly autistic like her ex and, best friend, Pete's.
Somebody asked if my ex Pete was autistic or had Asperger's, and you know what? He did tell me once that he thought he might be on the spectrum.
Or compelled to be with her in order to maintain their citizenship, like her current, boyfriend, BB. If you really take a dive into Chantal's content, you'll find that she has led a rather troubling life. She was born to a teen mother and her parents split very early on. They traveled around quite a bit until her mother finally married her stepfather. Her stepfather was the primary father figure in her life, as she's mentioned on several occasions that she has abandonment issues from her biological father not sticking around. They are so estranged, in fact, that he has 2 children who she has never even met.
I have 2 brothers my dad has with another woman, and I've never met them. I'm pretty sure they don't even know I exist.
Her mother and stepfather had another child when Chantal was 11 years old. In a pinned comment of their family pizza party video in which the sister appears, Chantal says her sibling has a mild learning disability. There are plenty of reasons to doubt what Chantal says just based on her well-known behavior of putting others down in order to elevate herself, but even if her sister does have a mild learning disability, why mention it? For one, it's no one's business, and 2, just watching the video you wouldn't think, hey, what's wrong with that girl? She seems normal. She seems like most of the people that Chantal forces to be in her videos, uncomfortable and awkward because they don't want to be filmed. Because normal people don't broadcast their entire lives to the internet. According to a former friend of Chantal's named Kathy, Chantal was rather cruel to her young sister during their childhood, claiming, quote, "Her sister is a sweet girl, wouldn't hurt a fly. She grew up with Chantal telling her she was ugly and dumb. We would be eating and watching movies, and this poor kid would sit at a chair by the doorway, where she couldn't even see the screen because Chantal wouldn't let her sit beside us on the couch." This sort of degrading behavior towards others is very typical for Chantal, so even though there is no definitive proof that she treated her sister poorly, I'm inclined to believe that she does and did. Needless to say, her daddy issues in conjunction with her parents having another child during her formative years caused Chantal to act out. Of particular note, she began sleeping with a 21-year-old man when she was only 15 years old.
When I first met him, I was 15 and he was 21. So yeah, kind of to begin with. I mean, I was a mature, younger person, but...
Aside from the obvious fact that this man was a predator, he also had a drinking problem and a girlfriend his own age, who was pregnant with his child at the time. This woman would routinely have confrontations with a teenage Chantal, once even showing up at her school to try and fight her.
I didn't know that this guy had a girlfriend that, who was pregnant with his child, okay? A girlfriend who liked to fight. And she was older. She was in her mid-20s. So anyways, this girl tried to make my life hell when she found out about me. Like, why don't you attack him? Why me? I didn't know about you, you know? But at that point, I was already like really in love with him, or so I thought. And she was so mean about it that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep screwing your boyfriend. And I know that's bad. I would never do that now. But when you're young and dumb, right? So we kept on, keeping on. And, she showed up at my school, tried to beat me up. She would see me on the street. She would freak out on me.
The tension in Chantal's household was understandably high during this time. She had been seeing several child psychologists due to a plethora of behavioral issues with little effect. According to her, she didn't think she needed any kind of treatment. She was just a spoiled brat, which, to her credit, is partially true. To this day, she displays the traits of a petulant child.
I think I just had, spoiled brat syndrome. I was a troubled teen.
Whether she thought she needed them or not, her opinion didn't stop doctors from prescribing her antidepressants at the time. It also doesn't stop Chantal from using her mental health issues as a scapegoat for her abhorrent behavior, while simultaneously refusing to follow through with any kind of therapy, which she has sought out and quit countless times in what many believe is an abuse of Canada's free healthcare system. One night, she got into an argument with her mother. She wanted to go stay the night with her boyfriend, the 21-year-old predator. Obviously, her mother refused. Chantal, angry about not getting her way, decided to fake a suicide attempt.
I emptied out half my bottle of, I think it was Zoloft I was on, antidepressants or something. Didn't work. So, I showed the bottle and I said, I'm gonna kill myself. I took half the bottle. And I hadn't. I really didn't.
Her intentions then were the same as they are today, purely selfish.
I never intended to really do it. I wanted attention. I knew that gave me power, threatening that. I wanted to hurt people.
Her mother rushed her to the hospital in a bid to save her life, and when the nurse told her she had to drink an activated charcoal mixture in order to neutralize the drugs in her system, she became worried that the charcoal would hurt her if no drugs were in her system, so she ran into the hospital bathroom and actually took, quote, some pills.
So in the bathroom, I actually took some pills. Then I thought I'll just drink the charcoal.
I believe she's being intentionally ambiguous here in order to make the viewer think that she had actually taken a dangerous dose, but in reality, it was probably no more than 2 or 3 at most. After she confessed this to the nurse, they decided to keep her in the hospital for a few days. Ironically, her hospital roommate was a young girl suffering from severe anorexia, hooked up to feeding tubes due to her dire situation. The girl's family would bring her all sorts of food and, well, I'm sure you can guess what happened next.
But anyway, I had said to her at some point, "Are you gonna eat those candy?" And I think she kind of caught on because she gave them to me. She gave me her candies.
After her stay at the hospital was over, they decided to send her to a psychiatric retreat for youths. She couldn't stand it there as the other patients were actually mentally ill as opposed to being a spoiled brat who threw a little temper tantrum like she did.
I did not belong there, guys. I had to do my schoolwork there. Every single other person there was absolutely fucking Looney Tunes. Like, really out to lunch. Like, I stole liquor and pretended to kill myself. These people, like, oh my god.
So she devised a plan to escape, which was, in her own words, to manipulate her grandmother into coming to take her out.
My plan was to run away and call my grandmother because I knew my grandma didn't know I was there. And this is bad, but I knew I could manipulate my grandmother into feeling bad and not making me go back there.
After what she had just put her mother through, you would think that she would feel enough shame to not abuse the kindness of another loved one so soon. But she will always use whatever resources she has at hand to try and get her way, regardless of the impact on others. In any case, it worked. However, Chantal's mother would not allow her to come home, so she was placed in a group home for teens with nowhere to go, which would set her on a path of alcohol and drug abuse, partying, and sexual promiscuity, behaviors that no doubt exacerbated her already underlying addiction to food. Chantal herself has speculated that her food addiction may be hereditary, as her father was out of the picture due to his alcoholism. She's also suggested that he may suffer from an addiction to food as well, and that many in her family eat for comfort.
I think I've said before, food was, my whole family has issues with food. And food was used as comfort and during happy times of family gatherings,
From her earliest days, her fondest memories are of food, enjoying visiting her grandfather because he always had candy, and being scolded by her grandmother for eating too much and asking for more.
And she was really French. All I remember is always wanting... I was a little piggy when I was a kid. What a surprise, right? I would go to her house, she would babysit me, and she yelled at me because I asked her for another pudding. I kept asking her for snacks. She got mad and she's like, "Tabernacle! You just had a snack!"
Chantal tells many stories of her time at the group home, all of them full of debauchery, the last place any parent should send their young daughter. She's shown the home in one of her vlogs, and quite frankly, it looks like a crack house. I think it speaks volumes about how bad Chantal was as a child that her mother would resort to sending her to this place. One of these stories in particular sticks out to me, and that's the story of Big G. Big G was a man who Chantal led on one summer in exchange for drugs and a place to party. She's unsure whether he had some sort of disability or not, but in my experience, if you have to ask yourself that question, then the answer is probably yes.
I led him on. I was nice to him. I made him think that we might have something. I used to ask him to get me weed, marijuana. And in return for him buying me some weed, I'm a prostitute. Think about it. I would go in the bedroom alone with him for a couple minutes to talk. That's it, I swear.
Now, the way I see it, there are two ways to interpret these events. Either this man did not have some sort of mental disability and Chantal was indeed turning tricks for some pot, which is something she's no stranger to, or he did have some sort of mental disability and she was emotionally manipulating him for her own benefit. Either way, this really helps to further illustrate the kind of person she is. Chantal continued to exploit this man over the summer, until one night she brought her 21-year-old boyfriend over to party. The man obviously realized there was something going on between her and Big G, and decided to take matters into his own hands by getting drunk and assaulting him.
I don't know why I find this funny, looking back at it. It's so, I don't... He's like... He's just sitting there and he's like, I'm going to punch out Big G. Big G was oblivious. He's just like, what's up, man? Punches him in the face. My friend's boyfriend was able to split them up.
Chantal felt horrible for Big G and decided to give him the only thing she could in consolation not only for the assault, but having sex with the boyfriend in his bathroom during the party. And what might that be? What might a young girl who had nothing, living in a group home, turning tricks for drugs, have to give as consolation? Pity sex.
So I had pity sex with Big G. I said it. For the first time, I've said it. Was it good? No. I don't even know if you can call it sex because I don't even know if his penis went inside because it was very small.
Of course she has to make a snide comment about the size of his manhood. It's something she does quite frequently. Keep in mind that Chantal isn't private about these videos. Everyone in her personal life knows about them and potentially watches them. So even when she does change the names to protect their anonymity, which she didn't in this case, the people who know her will know who she's talking about. It's one thing to blast your own deep, dark secrets all over the internet, but it's another to tell deeply personal stories about someone who never wanted it and didn't have any choice. But that doesn't occur to Chantal. If she will exploit her family's love for her own personal gain, she certainly has no qualms about exploiting anyone if it means a few more subs or a few more views on YouTube. This habit becomes exceptionally ironic as we further journey on and see Chantal complain incessantly about other people discussing her life and the story she has made public for others to view. Chantal's former friend Kathy has made the claim that she never had a boyfriend in high school, and again, while her claims offer no real hard evidence, I'm inclined to believe her based on Chantal's own words. As I mentioned, the 21-year-old she lost her virginity to had a pregnant girlfriend at the time, so while she may try to call him a boyfriend to make herself feel better about being used by an alcoholic predator, even she has slipped up and admitted she was nothing more than a side piece.
So he was like, you have to stop this. He like talked to her. He's like, you have to stop this. You know, you're acting irrationally. You're going to get in trouble. We have a kid. Let's just all get along. So basically he's saying to her, let me have a buddy. Like, really?
There was also a 38-year-old Frenchman who she would routinely hook up with but never really dated. Again, she was underage at the time of this relationship.
I was 16 or 17. So this is kind of wrong. I thought he was very good looking for his age. He looked to be in his maybe 40s, late 30s, 40s. Turns out he was 38.
She also had someone called her country lover who I assume was also well over a decade her senior. This was a one-time hookup as well. She tells a story about the worst hookup she's ever had, where she went to a bar underage and ended up going home with a man who was missing a bunch of fingers. They never had sex, but the night ended in a spectacular fashion.
Takes off my bra. You would think after a guy takes off your bra, he's gonna start doing things to you, but no. He put on my bra. He put my bra on. And he kept it on. I went to the bathroom. Oh my god, I had to go to the bathroom. Like, I had this beer galore. And I was like, oh my god. And his bathroom was the type that had, like, no fan. And it was, like, close to his, it was like a little bathroom and his, like, bed was right there. So, I do that. I was in there a little while. I come out, and he's, like, passed out. Like, completely passed out in my bra. All of a sudden, he starts grunting. And he starts, like, he cuddles up to me, grabs me really tight, like, almost friggin' suffocating. And he starts crying and saying, Mommy, Mommy, oh God. And I'm like, what the f***? Wearing my bra, crying for his mom.
Then there was the relationship she carried on for 2 years over the internet where she lied about her age, her weight, and who she really was. After making excuses not to meet every time he tried, on 2 occasions he bought her a plane ticket and both times he had to eat the cost, she finally told the man she was underage, overweight, and the pictures she had sent him weren't really her, so he dumped her. She chalks this up to him not wanting to be with a fat chick.
So I was like, really? You're not even gonna at least wait to see what I look like. It's just like, she's fat, never mind. You know? Which, for all I know, he could have been overweight. He could have been ugly. Like, who knows, you know? Like, I'm not shallow like that. You know? But whatever.
As if it doesn't even register with her that she had lied to this man for 2 years, making him think she was an adult woman. There is no sympathy for how he must have felt, probably worried that this made him some kind of unintentional predator. At every turn in her life, Chantal is the victim, no matter how many mental gymnastics she has to perform to make it so. Funnily enough, this is the closest thing she had to a real committed relationship in her adolescence. It's a bit sad that the only way she could get someone to be with her was to lie about her physical appearance, but it does prove my earlier point. No decent guy wants to put up with someone like Chantal unless they are drop-dead gorgeous. If I had to guess the reason for all of this sexual promiscuity, it would be her daddy issues. Luckily, I don't have to play armchair psychologist and make these kinds of guesses because Chantal has outright admitted this on several occasions.
Daddy abandonment issues. The list goes on. Hashtag daddy issues. I think I have daddy issues.
The way she tells these stories, it seems she was consistently sleeping with both the 38-year-old Frenchman and the 21-year-old alcoholic until the end of high school. Feeling very single and very alone, she began using IRC, or Internet Relay Chat, to find hookups, until she began dating her first, in real life, bona fide boyfriend, James, better known as Pete's to foodie beauty enthusiasts. She and Pete's were originally just friends. Eventually, they became roommates, which led to them falling in love and dating. Chantal has mentioned before that she's been with BB for around 7 years, and that she and Pete's were together for around 7 years as well. That means she started dating Pete's when she was 21 or 22. That leaves 2 to 3 years between ending her high school flings with older men and her first real relationship. During this time, we get some of Chantal's most horrifying hookup stories. Her most notable is the failed threesome. She catfished a couple using IRC, sending them a deceptive photo. The result was an awkward night of partying that culminated in Chantal getting rejected and sleeping on their couch. She then left them a little surprise in the morning.
I find the bathroom, get on my knees, start doing my thing. And, this is gross, guys. So it comes out both ends. And I had a skirt on. And a G-string. The barf goes projectile all over their wall. The poop goes all over their floor. No towels, no paper towel anywhere in the bathroom, no toilet paper. I didn't know what to do. I took my G-string off, cleaned up with some socks and some clothes I had in my bag. You know, I think I had a sweater or something in there.
What happened after when I went home, I never heard from them again. I never heard from him again. So I'm assuming they found my mess and just were like, screw this chick. I'm not messaging her anymore.
She also partook in another threesome while high on ecstasy where the woman didn't seem to have the best hygiene, but that didn't stop our hungry girl.
I was like, really, do I have to? Do I have to go in there? And I did. And it was horrible. Yeah, so.
And let's not skip over one of my personal favorites. The time she was so horny that she slept with a homeless man on a rock by a lake.
Then, you know, it came around to the bar closing, and I got that feeling like, I don't want to go home, and I want to get laid, you know? As I'm walking home, I see this guy. He wasn't too scruffy looking, but he was kind of scruffy, you know? He was carrying like a shopping bag, and it had like DVDs in it, probably to pawn them. And we did it on the rock near the harbor. I know what you're thinking. What did he smell like? That's what I would wonder. He didn't smell too homeless, like, you know, he smelled a little bit like malt vinegar, but...
She's also been known to trade sexual favors for treats, as I mentioned previously with Big G. But on another occasion, she let a man touch her breasts for a few burgers.
I got desperate and called one of my lovers This is like low-key prostitution, but I offered him foreplay if he would come over and bring me a couple of Whoppers. I think it was Whopper Wednesday. He got there and I was so mad. It gets worse. I was so mad and pissy that he forgot the zesty sauce from my onion rings that I only let him squeeze my boobs.
On another, she flashed an elderly man in a vegetative state for a Klondike bar when she was underage.
So I was like, what do you want me to do for a Klondike bar? Name it. So my friend's boyfriend's like, I want you to go to the man at the end of the road. And I want you to lift your shirt up and flash him and shove your tits in his face. So, of course, I did it. I'm not proud, but I did it.
It was during this time that she also began experimenting with heavier drugs. As mentioned in her unclean threesome story, she took ecstasy. She's also tried mushrooms and LSD.
That day, I was so excited. She made shroom popsicles. She had LSD, ton of weed. Oh, that goes without saying.
But after all was said and done and she'd had her fill of fun, she decided to settle down with good old reliable Pete's. To be bluntly honest, Pete's is a pathetic guy, and I think that was and is his appeal for Chantal. While it's easy for a woman her size to find a sexual partner, it's not so easy to get someone to stick with you. I mean, with a god-awful personality, a propensity for infidelity, an appetite that would put a dent in the steepest of pocketbooks, and the delusion that the world revolves around you, it's really not that hard to upgrade. Here's a bit of free advice for the ladies out there. If you're gonna be awful, you better be pretty. But when you look like Pete's, when you're as deficient in social skills as Pete's is, you become a safe and secure assurance for girls like Chantal, an assurance that they will never be alone. You're their backup plan. We see this today with the relationship. They remain friends. He's obviously still in love with her, even after everything she put him through. You can tell that the moment she says, I'm ready to come back and settle down, he's going to be right there. I guess manipulating people with disabilities is more of a habit than a one-off for Chantal. So she and Pete's dated for around 7 years, and eventually they were engaged to be married. But at some point, Chantal fell out of love with him. So she did what any mature, well-adjusted, mentally healthy 28-year-old person would do when they're ready to end a relationship. She sat him down, gently explained her feelings, and they amicably went their separate ways, remaining fast friends. Just kidding. She started routinely cheating on him with random African migrants, then left him out of the blue one day for her current boyfriend. Now, when Chantal says she fell out of love, what she really means is that she was no longer feeling sexually satisfied.
I'm a very sexual person, and I know people stay together out of convenience. They don't want to ruin a family. But I need good sex in my life, and I need passion, and I need attention. And I wasn't getting all those things anymore.
I don't expect maturity out of Chantal today, so it's a bit absurd of me to expect it from her when she was 28, but this really goes to show how much of an insecure child she is at heart. She wasn't feeling sexually satisfied. She didn't think she wanted to be with Pete's anymore. So instead of voicing her feelings, either trying to work through her issues or separating, she stayed with him and went behind his back with God knows how many men, potentially exposing him to God knows how many STDs, because her fear of being alone trumped any sort of respect she had for someone she supposedly loved. I don't think Chantal really loves or cares for anyone. I think people are just another commodity to her, and their only value is what they can do at any given moment to satisfy her urges, because Chantal truly is a slave to her own desires. If she wants to eat, she eats. If she wants to have sex with someone, she does it. There is no thought given to the impact her actions will have on herself, let alone the impact it will have on those around her. In her more recent videos, she will tell you that she and BB started talking for like 2 weeks behind Pete's back, and then she broke up with him.
I think that it was very wrong of me to do that, to sneak around and talk to BB for like 2 weeks.
Not true. Not even in the slightest. The first person she has officially admitted to cheating on Pete's with was a Nigerian man named Paul. She went out for a girls' night at the club. The man approached her, and though she was not attracted to him and was put off by his personality, she gave him her number. I suppose beggars can't be choosers. He immediately became very possessive, texting her all hours of the night and getting angry if she wanted to hang out with friends instead of him. Even with all these red flags, she decided to take the step and start cheating on Pete's with him. The cognitive dissonance she displays when recounting this story is truly amazing. One night, she brought him over to her friend's apartment, unable to bring him back to her own because, her boyfriend lived there. Throughout the night, they were all chatting and drinking. Chantal got hammered drunk and decided to go outside for a smoke and a bit of fresh air. After a few minutes, Paul came out and informed her that he had just slept with her friend, slapping her across the face when she became upset.
And he's like, I fucked your friend. In 2 minutes? Well, I was gone? I'm like, that's sneaky frigging slutty. So I start yelling at him. He's like, listen to me, listen to me. He grabs me, smacks me across the face, and I just like, no man has ever smacked me. I was so stunned.
I can understand in the moment being upset about your friend sleeping with a guy you were interested in, but this story is over 7 years old and she's still visibly upset about it, as if she never stopped to think, hey, I was cheating on my boyfriend during this time, and this guy was a scumbag who physically and mentally abused me. Maybe he was the problem, not my friend. Better yet, her friend even told her it wasn't true, said he made it all up, but she didn't believe her. She believed the guy who she claims treated her worse than anyone else has in her entire life. I guess Chantal just can't wrap her head around the notion that not every girl sleeps with any man that so much as glances in their general direction. She even has the nerve to say this.
Anyway, I believe in karma. And I think that I was sent BB as a consolation for this jerk.
Now, I'm not a complete moron, so I don't believe in things like karma, but just for the sake of argument, let's say I do. What seems more plausible? That she was sent BB because the guy she was cheating on her boyfriend with was a scumbag, or that she was sent a scumbag because she's a terrible person who was cheating on her boyfriend of 7 years? The answer should be obvious to anyone who isn't Chantal or one of her dozen fans. Around the same time she was seeing Paul, she began seeing a man she only refers to as her Rwandan lover, as well as chatting with BB online. She would routinely visit the Rwandan man for booty calls. Eventually, she and BB met in person, immediately fell in love, and lived happily ever after. Except they didn't. You see, BB was still sleeping with other girls and Chantal was still hooking up with other guys, not to mention she was still dating Pete's. It wasn't until a chance encounter at a gas station that they decided to make it official. Chantal came across BB in a car with 2 women and became infuriated. I mean, how could he do this to her? Sure, she was still in a relationship with her boyfriend and sleeping with other men, but that's different. Chantal, unlike everyone else in her life, can't be held accountable for her own actions. So she meets up with him at the club, tells BB she doesn't want him to hook up with the other girl he brought, and they get a hotel room. Because again, they couldn't go back to her place because Chantal was in a relationship and living with Pete, who I'm sure was at home watching X-Men in his whitey-tighties, oblivious to the fact that the woman he thought he was going to spend the rest of his life with was sleeping with any man desperate enough to give her the time of day.
I remember when the hotel, it's dark, we start making out and stuff, you know, and things are getting heated, and he's like, take off all of your clothes, like your socks, everything. And I was like, no. At the time, I was still, you know, I hadn't been with anybody since Pete's, like, you know, and the Rwanda guy, but that was a really good night. So, I'm pretty sure we kept the neighbors up. TMI!
Shortly after this meeting, Chantal broke it off with the other guy she was seeing, confessed to Pete's everything she had done, and told him she was leaving him for BB. According to Chantal, he was heartbroken. In fact, he was so in love with her that he offered to let her sleep with whomever she wanted to as long as she stayed with him.
Many times he would tell me, Pete would tell me, even if you don't love me anymore, I don't know, maybe he sensed it was coming, but he said, even if you don't love me anymore and you wanted to see someone else, I would be totally cool with that. I would be cool with you having different lovers to make you happy.
Truly, there's no sadder character in this story than Pete's. So Chantal and BB moved in together. He used his 4-year bachelor degree to get a job as a security guard, and she worked in healthcare administration. In late 2016, Chantal lost her job and instead of seeking new work, lived off of unemployment and began regularly uploading videos to her YouTube channel. The first few appear to be your typical low-quality, low-effort beauty videos. In her first Get to Know Me video, she tells us a little bit about herself. Unlike the brash and brazen girl we see today, proudly recounting her sexual exploits or bathroom blunders as she shovels thousands of calories into her mouth, she comes across as a bit shy, giving us precious little tidbits of information. She's short, 5'1" in fact. She loves cats, she dropped out of college, and she can count the amount of people she slept with on her hands, something she later admitted was a lie after the 10th or 15th video she made recounting her numerous sexual encounters.
I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, woman, how many lovers have you had? I used to say that I could count on my hands, but I don't think that's true anymore. It was a few years ago.
If you were to look at her channel today, you would see that not long after this Get to Know Me video, she switched from makeup tutorials to mukbangs and the occasional vlog. However, this is not a true representation of her channel's history. Chantal is well known for deleting videos, typically in an attempt to mitigate the repercussions of her impulsive nature. The most common reason for her to delete a video is the backlash she receives after lashing out at those she deems haters, which is a blanket term that covers everyone from people who are genuinely worried about her health due to her constant binge eating on camera and her numerous health problems, to trolls who genuinely just want to get a reaction out of her, and everyone in between. Recently, however, she's taken things further than she ever has before, by mass deleting almost 6 million views worth of videos. These videos were all diet and fitness related and showed the true nature of Chantal's channel, revealing precisely why she's garnered so much negative attention and criticism over the years. While a good majority of the videos are not publicly available, the majority of the videos released in 2019 have been archived on her Kiwi Farms thread, and I have saved them all. While it's easy to disdain Chantal for her behavior, for who she is as a person and how she treats those around her, these things aren't clearly laid out for your average viewer. I've spent well over 200 hours watching her videos in order to weave together this story, and I'm sure even I missed quite a bit. No, the primary reason the vast majority of her fanbase has turned against her, the reason so many channels make videos about her, is her constant diet cycling. Despite what you'll hear from Chantal today about being body positive, how she's happy to be a big girl, she most certainly is not. She can try and rewrite history for those who may stumble upon her channel by deleting every video with diet or weight loss in the title, but like any endeavor she undergoes, she's too lazy to follow through on it thoroughly, because even though the videos that are explicitly diet-related based on the title have been deleted, there are plenty of videos where she references her endless weight-related trials and tribulations. Even in her earliest videos, she lamented the size of her body.
What is the least favorite thing about yourself? Probably my weight. It's always the number one thing that comes to mind.
In a rare moment of self-awareness, she actually points out that her weight isn't the biggest issue in her life. It's the underlying problems that cause it, her uncontrollable emotions, but more importantly, her impulsivity.
But you know what? No, I don't think it is weight. You know what annoys me even more than that is probably that I can be probably my anger. I anger very quickly. I don't like that. And I'm impulsive, so my anger and impulsiveness I dislike the most.
The first video to garner any real attention was uploaded February 16th, 2017. It was a mukbang video, today sporting over 550,000 views, and in it, she addresses the very real question she knows her viewers will have.
On the days that I don't do mukbangs, I'm gonna eat very little, and whatever I eat is gonna be healthy. And I'm gonna be starting a workout routine.
This video blowing up was probably the worst thing that ever happened to Chantal. You don't have to be a psychologist to know that no one with binge eating disorder is going to be able to simultaneously perform mukbangs and overcome their disorder. She's essentially become incentivized monetarily to continue her addiction. Chantal recognized this on some level, and 2 weeks later, says her days of mukbanging are coming to an end as she plans to get weight loss surgery.
So bear with me because my mukbangs are coming to an end. I'm really sorry. I'm not going to be mukbanging the way I do because I'm going for the weight loss surgery, right? So I have to prepare for that, and I have to come up with a plan, and that's all that's coming. That's coming for sure.
However, 2 days later, she decides she's still going to be doing mukbangs, just less junky ones, reserving her junk food mukbangs for occasional treats.
I'm going to be doing less of these junky mukbangs. Are going to be reserved for treats only. If I'm going to be going for weight loss surgery, I have to start thinking, that way and preparing mentally. It's not a magic pill. I can't just, boom, I have surgery. But I pigged out the 6 months prior to getting it. I can't do that, so.
This obviously is not feasible and did not work. When you eat like Chantal, it doesn't matter if what you're eating is, quote, healthy food. If you're still eating 3,000 calories or more a day, you will not lose weight. At Chantal's height of 5'1" and weight of 380 pounds, she should be consuming less than 2,800 calories per day to lose weight. It isn't uncommon for her to clear that in a single mukbang. Keep in mind, her mukbangs are not her only meals either. And her viewers were quick to point this out. Initially, she took these comments for what they were, genuine concern from loyal fans. from people who actually cared about her health and wanted to encourage her to overcome her eating disorder. And for a brief moment, it seemed as if she was going to make a real change, that she recognized she couldn't keep making eating videos and lose weight simultaneously, as seen in this video titled Mukbanger's Health and Other Stories, uploaded April 19th of that same year.
Your health should be number one, no matter what you do in life. And I know a lot of you watch me regardless. And I know that some of you would leave if I changed the content of my channel to a more healthier theme. And that's the price I gotta pay. You're not gonna see me pigging out anymore, eating unhealthily.
But she didn't quit mukbanging, and she didn't get her diet back on track. She would eat healthy food for a day, maybe two, and then go right back into 2,000 to 3,000 calorie binges. And gradually, that genuine concern from her fans started to become frustration. As the tension began to build, Chantal tried to separate her content into two channels.
I'm gonna do a separate channel for my weight loss journey. There's different audiences for different aspects of the material I release. Material, like it's like this big thing, but anyway, so that's what I think it's just better if I do that.
I guess in her mind, she thought that the audience that wanted her to get healthy would just cheer for her on her diet channel and would ignore the fact that what little work she put into losing weight on one channel would be instantly canceled out by her massive binge on the other. After this attempt to placate her viewers failed, she began lashing out at anyone and everyone who called her out for destructive behavior. First, with small passive-aggressive quips here and there, before eventually addressing her critics directly in a scathing rant within a video titled Indian Food Mukbang Eat With Me, uploaded June 6th of 2017.
So before you all start typing, what happened to your diet? Let me explain something to you, okay? So I made a decision. I'm closing my weight loss channel. My other channel, I'm shutting it down. I am too busy to deal with, all these experts in, in diet, and then these people who are like, well, you wouldn't get hate if you wouldn't tell people that you're losing weight or you're vegan. You know what? You're right. So I'm not going to. It's sickening. It's sickening. No matter what you do, people think you're eating bad. You eat a fucking piece of fruit and people think that you're no, I can't handle that. People need to worry about themselves. This is a mukbang channel. So if you can't handle watching someone big eat something, go watch a skinny bitch eat a salad. Okay? Either you watch me for me and my story times and the food, or else don't watch me at all. Plain and simple.
At this point in her channel's history, she had just passed the 5,000 subscriber mark, and already she was beginning to break down mentally from the pressure, causing her veneer of kindness to slip, mistreating her fans. So naturally, her fans began to turn on her. Despite her declaration that she would no longer talk about her diet and weight loss and that she would be deleting her weight loss channel, she continued to make it a regular topic in her videos, and did not delete the second channel. On the 1st of July 2017, she releases a video where she changes her mind, claiming that she now believes that losing weight while filming mukbangs is possible, while eating a meal from Five Guys.
I believe that you can have an eating channel and lose weight. I definitely do. You gotta watch what you're eating. Let's get to the burger.
2 weeks later, she uploads an absolutely manic video where she tells her viewers that they need to quit worrying about what she eats, because she knows what she's doing. And if they were to only watch her diet channel, they would know that when she's not filming these unhealthy mukbangs, she eats healthy and exercises.
Here's the thing, okay? You only see me eat one meal. You don't see what I do the rest of the day. If you want to see what I do the rest of the day and things that I do eat, go to my other channel, Chantal Marie. It's always in the description. You'll see that I go to the gym. You'll see that I'm losing weight. I know what I'm doing. You come here for food, you come here for story. You don't come here to criticize. Like I said, it's like if you're watching somebody, a YouTuber who has no legs, doing makeup, you're not going to start talking about the fact that they have no legs.
The title of this video is Loads of Spaghetti, and what an apt name it is. Chantal will often tell those who criticize her that what they are doing is basically the same as criticizing someone with a real physical disability. In this example, someone with no legs. I can only imagine how incredibly insulting this must be to anyone with an actual disability, as if her lack of willpower and compulsive need to eat are even remotely the same as being physically disabled. I know you don't like to think before you run your mouth, Chantal, but maybe stop to consider the fact that you have the opportunity, at any point in your life, to simply stop eating disgusting amounts of food every single day and start going to the gym, and your supposed disability will disappear into thin air. If someone with no legs could get their legs back by not being a glutton and stuffing their face with food all day every day, they wouldn't be crying on the internet about people saying mean things about them while they wallowed in their own misery. They would be eating a clean, healthy diet and working out twice a day, 7 days a week until they were back on their feet. I imagine this message was conveyed during the comment section, as they are, along with the ratings, disabled for this video. Despite her assurance, her rather vehement assurance that she knows exactly what she's doing with her diet, and that behind the scenes she's working hard to eat clean and lose weight, by the end of July she confesses what everyone already knew. That in addition to her on-camera binges, she would routinely binge off-camera as well.
To be honest with you, completely honest with you, my problem is what happens off of camera, not what's on camera. So like, I binge off of camera. Like, if I just ate what I ate on camera and then counted calories and stuck to that every day and went to the gym and vlogged that, I would be fine. The thing is you don't see me, going to the store and eating a whole bag of chips and dip, or, like sometimes I binge, and that has to stop. And it all comes down to correcting your own behavior. I mean, you have to just do it, So that's what has to be done, and
Again, despite her assurance that she will be able to lose weight and film mukbangs by cutting out all the junk, all the videos that follow this one are filled with pizza, fast food, poutine, just the worst kind of foods you could possibly put in your body. The month of August saw Chantal reach her breaking point. She uploads a video on the 9th proclaiming the difficulty of her job as a YouTuber, saying that people are only hating on her because she's fat, her go-to defense mechanism when she doesn't want to reflect on her own poor choices.
So people come here to watch me eat and talk. And yes, it's just eating, but it still takes a lot of work, okay? I work almost all day on YouTube, editing videos, planning. I could show you my planner, scripting, coming up with different ideas. I also do other things like a different series on my channel. So just because it involves a fat person eating something doesn't mean that it's just a waste of money. Every dollar that I make from that is going to go back into this channel in some way. So to those people, can it. You don't have to donate, but you don't have to open your mouth and give shit to people who want to contribute to my channel.
She pins a comment to the video from a loyal viewer imploring her, and this is great advice for any YouTuber out there, not to compare her cushy life of sitting at home eating all day to a typical 9-to-5 job. Her response to this almost defies belief in its arrogance and ignorance. YouTube is a full-time job. I put out a schedule, and every day I work on my channel pretty much all day. I try to put more and more into it every day. YouTube is a job. It involves scripting, filming, putting your life out there. Eating is just part of it. Regardless, it is getting on camera for thousands to view and entertain people, whether that be they are disgusted or entertained. I don't care either way. People watch to be entertained in some way. I started writing my own stories to tell on camera. Editing takes a while to do. It is more work than people realize. On top of that, interacting via social media also takes hours out of the day. So yes, it is comparable, and I would argue that it's even more work, especially for bigger YouTubers. A 9-to-5 job, you get to go home and leave it behind at the office. YouTube, you are on your own. You don't get benefits, except you have to constantly remain creative and competitive. So I appreciate you watching me, but I have to largely disagree with you. The fact that you simply call it eating pizza on camera is ignorant and false. Become a YouTuber. You will see. Anyone who has a real job knows this is not true. Anyone who has a successful YouTube channel knows this is not true. On several occasions while working on this video, I've put in 16-hour days because the physical effort is so minimal and creating it has been so rewarding. But I don't need the testimonial of myself or others. I can use Chantal herself as proof. More than anyone I've ever come across in my life, Chantal is like water, and that she always, always takes the path of least resistance available. At no point in her life has she faced adversity and overcome it if an easier option was available, the most obvious being her ongoing failure to lose weight. It's just easier to give in to her urges. So if YouTube truly was more difficult than getting a real job, you can be assured that she would have given up long ago. It's around this time that Chantal begins to heavily censor her comment section, and is quite vocal about doing so, oftentimes disabling it altogether if the backlash is too strong.
If your comment annoys me, or it's just like annoying, or rude, or just pisses me off, I'm just gonna delete it because, I don't want that shit on my channel. It upsets other viewers who actually like me.
She begins repeating what will eventually become her catchphrase more and more often. If you don't like it, then don't watch. And this is probably the most critical mistake she's ever made in regards to suppressing criticism. Because if you don't allow people to voice their opinions on your channel, they're going to talk about you somewhere else. And where might that be?
And then I found out, going through the comments, there's this, what the hell is Kiwi Farms? Is that like a forum or a website where people go and like discuss other people?
Chantal's Kiwi Farms thread is massive and extremely active, and she has no one to blame but herself. I'm not saying that she wouldn't have had her own thread if she let people freely voice their opinions in her own comment section and didn't fly into a fit of rage at least once a week when people pointed out her destructive or hypocritical behavior, only to subsequently delete her impulsive rantings and then pretend like nothing ever happened and she's just the poor victim of a society full of fat hatred. But it certainly wouldn't be in excess of 1,400 pages and the primary place she's discussed on the internet. So despite her assurance that she's a fierce girl who doesn't care what the haters have to say, to no one's surprise, she uploads a video on August 17th of 2017 admitting that everything is really getting to her.
I have a hard time keeping my feelings in, so you guys don't know how many times I've come close to like, I'm not saying this for pity, I'm just telling you how it is. Like, I almost lost my shit and I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break from YouTube. I'm quitting. I wasn't understanding what I was doing wrong. I don't get it. I'm a good person. I have a lot of friends. And so I've concluded that people don't like me because I'm overweight.
Again with this victim complex, with this delusion that people don't like her because she's fat. Sure, at any given point, random people on the internet are going to make fun of you for whatever they can to get a rise out of you. But the vast majority of criticism she was receiving at this point was because over and over again she promised to go on a weight loss journey, to stop eating herself into an early grave, only to turn around, not even a few hours later, with a several thousand calorie binge. But this fake oppression is just one of Chantal's many methods of scapegoating the very valid criticism she receives. Things get progressively worse for Chantal throughout the month of September. No doubt, her mood was affected by her nearly daily intake of fast food and her complete lack of diet or exercise, culminating on October 1st of 2017 when she uploads a video where she once again declares she's officially done with discussing her health, and that she will be closing her diet and weight loss channel, one day after claiming she would be starting a water fast in a video that is now lost to time.
I'm deleting my weight loss channel. I know I've been through this before, and I'm deleting it for good. I deleted the water fast video. The water fast video, the comments were, everyone's an armchair nutritionist, and there was just a lot of concerned advice that I didn't ask for. That being said, I'm not going to talk about that anymore on this channel. You have my word on that. A lot of you get mad because, I'll fail. I'll say I'm going to do something and then I don't do it. Well, at the time when I say I'm going to do it, I have every intention of doing it.
To her credit, she does finally recognize that the criticism she receives is because of her failure to follow through with her diet, and she does actually delete her other channel. Unfortunately, in the first week of October, her health finally catches up with her, and she's admitted to the hospital due to severe abdominal pains, and it is discovered that she has 2 large cysts on her ovaries and is diagnosed with PCOS, or polycystic ovary syndrome.
This is yes, definitely an eye-opener for me. I do need to make changes in my life. Facing the demons, so to speak. I need to face my health issues and work on making them better. The material's gonna be a bit different. I can't, abuse my body anymore like I have been. So I'm gonna have to make some changes.
Chantal completely changes her attitude after this video. She decides she's done with binging and blaming others for her own shortcomings. In the comments, she even implores her most loyal fans not to argue with people who post comments doubting their confidence in her newfound motivation to turn her life around, recognizing that her past behaviors don't inspire confidence. She almost seems like the girl we first saw uploading videos on her channel, the one who took advice and criticism for what it was, genuine concern from her fans. She manages to stick to what appears to be a mostly healthy diet for a good 2 weeks with only one little slip-up, but by the end of October, she falls off the wagon again, uploading what is, in my opinion, the saddest video on her channel.
This has been going on since I was young. I don't remember too much about my childhood, but I do remember my first bag of chips and how it made me feel. And people say, why don't you just stop eating? It's that easy, just don't eat it. If you cared about yourself, you wouldn't eat that way. Maybe we don't. Maybe we care more about the food than we do about our own selves. I don't want my life to just be food for happiness, So I know that I can't eat this.
Not even a week later, she was back to regular binges and raging at anyone who dared question her life choices.
But don't come at me, with bullshit. And people are like, well, you only want people to kiss your ass on your channel. No, there's no reason. I'm sitting here eating or talking or doing what I do. Even if I fall off the wagon on my diet, so shoot me. I'm trying here. And you still have no right to be an and negative on my channel, and I just delete you. And that's it, plain and simple. You don't like it? Watch something else.
And to this day, just past the 2-year anniversary of finding out about her ovarian cysts, she still hasn't had them removed. For a time, she was under the impression she could cure them with diet and homeopathic medicine. Yes, she's one of those people. I'm sure you're shocked. But mostly she's just putting it off because anything that requires she raise her heart rate past its resting state of 100 beats per minute that isn't stuffing her face on camera seems to be too much for her to handle. In less than 1 year of creating regular content on her channel, Chantal developed a concrete pattern of behavior that she repeats to this day. The behavior has been labeled by those who enthusiastically follow her life on kiwi farms as the Chantal cycle. And someone even created this handy little chart to use as a reference tool. While in her first year of regularly uploading content, she probably repeated this cycle at least 4 or 5 times, each new cycle becoming shorter in duration, her behavior growing more and more erratic, her periods of exercise and diet growing more and more futile, her binging more frequent and extreme. And this snowball effect continues to this day. I could go through her channel and trawl kiwi farms in order to list every single diet she's tried and failed over the past 2.5 years. I could take those failures, compile them into a neat little package, and give everyone my hot take on what Chantal could do in the future to improve her life, but I think this comment sheds all the light we need on the subject. Are you still seeing the obesity doctor? No, we have differing viewpoints on nutrition. I'm guessing her conversation with the obesity doctor went something like this.
My problem is I'm holding a lot of fluid. I can't hardly pee.
Really?
I don't know what,
What do you mean you don't know? And you think that you're not eating and you're gaining
I don't want to get malnourished either.
Do you look like you're malnourished?
I think it should go without saying, just based on the way I conduct myself on the internet, but I am not a doctor. And that's one of the 2 reasons why I'm not going to give her diet advice. If she won't listen to a doctor, then why would she listen to some handsome, well-muscled stranger on the internet? The other reason being that I don't want her to get better. I wanted to keep entertaining me with her dumpster fire of a life, and to serve as a guide for what not to do for people who are actually committed to turning their lives around and losing weight. Just because I'm not going to list every single diet Chantal has been on over the course of her history on YouTube doesn't mean I'm done talking about them altogether. They are incredibly relevant to the rest of her story. In the early days of her channel, she told her viewers she'd been laid off work after completing a 1-year contract and was currently receiving unemployment while trying to figure out her next move in life. This, as with many other claims Chantal has made, turned out to be a lie. She later admits that she had in fact been fired from her last job. She'd been working in healthcare administration for several years and finally managed to get her dream job working at a psychiatric hospital. Coincidentally, the same hospital she stayed at as a young girl. She was hired in a temporary position to fill in for a woman who was gone on maternity leave for 1 year. For the first 6 months, things went great, and she decided she wanted to stay on permanently with the hospital. She applied for a permanent secretary position under a new doctor in the geriatric unit, and despite being underqualified for the position, she was hired on full-time with paid leave, full benefits, and a whopping $29 per hour. Keep in mind that's 29 Canadian dollars, so I don't know, like $6 US or something. Unfortunately, things with the new doctor didn't go so well.
So from day one, the doctor was on my ass, expecting me to know things about how she likes things done, just because the old secretary did it that way. It was the type of situation where no matter what you did, there was always something. It wasn't good enough. And I have a feeling that she just didn't want me there. You know what I mean? For some reason, I don't know what. I don't know if she didn't like overweight people. She was a very health conscious person, always biking around Italy, blah, blah, blah. And eating her bean salad or whatever.
Of course, just like every problem she faces in her life, it's not because she wasn't performing up to par. The doctor was just picking on her because she didn't like fat people. Eventually, Chantal began outright neglecting her duties and started frequently calling in sick.
If something pisses me off and is not going right, I become very discouraged, and I just don't give a shit anymore. Like, I don't care what happens. I just didn't want to go. I would wake up almost sick thinking of going in there at 7 in the morning and dealing with her. You know, it was just too much. So I just, I called in sick a lot. Just explaining to the boss that I'm really not well right now. And mentally, I wasn't.
Things came to a head and she was called in for a meeting and informed she was being terminated. Her union rep informed her that the reason for her termination was weak and she could request arbitration, or they could just ask for a settlement and accept the termination. After seeing the settlement amount and with the knowledge that she would be receiving unemployment, Chantal accepted the termination under the condition that she would never be able to work at the hospital again and that she sign a non-disclosure agreement, which I'm fairly certain she violated when she uploaded this video. I'm not an expert in Canadian unemployment, but assuming Chantal received the maximum amount, she would receive around $500 a week for up to 45 weeks, which means her checks most likely stopped coming around the end of 2017, early 2018 at the latest, leaving her with nothing but the settlement money. At one point, Chantal admitted she went into debt from ordering so much fast food when she lived with Pete's.
And I put a lot of weight on when I used to live with my ex. Oh my god, I probably gained about 100 pounds living with him. Because he didn't cook, and I didn't cook. Nobody cooked, and we ordered out every day. So I got into a lot of debt, and I gained a lot of weight.
So I think it's safe to assume that with her underlying need for daily fast food feasts, in addition to her penchant for purchasing absurd amounts of clothing and makeup, she burnt through the settlement money quite quickly, meaning her sole source of income is YouTube. On average, she gets about 100 to 150,000 video views per week, and based on my own channel statistics, that means she's probably earning about $300 per week, which doesn't even meet minimum wage. So how is she getting by? Well, as she herself has admitted, BB pays most of the bills.
Like, I'm not working right now either. BB is pretty much paying the bill.
In my estimation, Chantal eats at least $300 per week in takeout and groceries, so she is quite literally stuck in a cycle of eating while her boyfriend pays for the rest of their living expenses. I think Pete's really puts it best.
You eat garbage so you can make money to eat garbage.
That's the life of a mukbanger.
Chantal's problem now is that she can never return to her line of work. Leave aside the fact that she's infamous on the internet, and a simple Google search would turn any respectable employer off. When they look at her employment history and see that she was terminated with a non-disclosure agreement and now has a 3-year and growing by the day gap in her work history, there's no way they're going to take the chance. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the room when she tries to explain what she's been doing for the past 3 years of her life. Chantal knows that she's trapped doing YouTube and that her only hope is for her channel to continue growing, to get to a point where she's actually making a sustainable income. And I think that it's really contributed to the rapid deterioration of her mental health. But the biggest catalyst in Chantal's unending downward spiral is her critics. At first, it was just concerned fans and a few random trolls, and as we've seen, that alone cost her more than a few meltdowns. But after she began to heavily moderate her channel's comments section, she was given her own dedicated thread on kiwi farms, causing her meltdowns to become more and more frequent as she couldn't control the narrative. Naturally, this increasingly erratic behavior, along with a daily updated catalog of her every foible just waiting to be monetized, attracted the attention of reaction, commentary, and parody YouTube channels. And that's when her rage really kicked into overdrive. Chantal's channel saw really good positive growth for the first 2 years, but in 2019, things have slowed to a crawl. Her channel is essentially stagnated. The problem is that the vast majority of people don't watch her for her personality. They watch her for the spectacle that she makes out of herself. There's a reason every video dating back to March of 2018 going forward has the ratings disabled. As she struggled to grow and cope with daily criticism and her failing physical and mental health, she's watched videos made about her regularly garner 2 to 3 times her average view counts, while those creators continue to shoot past her in subscribers and views. The continuous onslaught of criticism and mockery in conjunction with the knowledge that videos made about her get more views than her own content was more than she could take, and she began playing a very dangerous game. Instead of uploading the entertaining meltdowns where she simply raged about her critics, she began actively trying to silence them by abusing legal systems, with her only real effect being a megaphone for their voices and increasing the criticism she receives tenfold. In April of 2018, a user by the name of McKinley, aka Kathy, started posting on Kiwi Farms about Chantal. This person gave details that only someone who knew Chantal personally could know. Details about how her mother and grandmother helped support her financially, how she treated her sister poorly, and an alleged affair she had while dating Bibi, just to name a few. Most users on the website probably wouldn't have believed that Manakant actually knew Chantal, but Chantal verified it herself in spectacular fashion, by sending her an email that really stripped down the facade of victimhood she tries to put on for her audience. In it, she mocks the woman for her past issues with suicide and self-harm, which, as we've seen, is something Chantal has faked for attention and manipulation in the past with her family, as well as currently using her own mental health issues to avoid criticism. You sit there talking about my eating disorder with my trolls, but what about the self-harm you used to do? Again, don't come for me unless your closet is clean, which it is not. This is something Chantal does every single time she confronts her critics or trolls. In fact, whataboutisms are basically the only weapon in her arsenal. It's never a whataboutism in defense either. It's a poor attempt at hiding a petty insult. It's completely ineffective though. She doesn't realize that people don't hate her because she's overweight or because she has an eating disorder. It's because she's a terrible person, which this email demonstrates beautifully as she threatens to contact Child Protective Services if the woman doesn't stop posting about her online. If you ever mention another thing about me online, and I will be checking, I will be sending all of the screenshots to Child Protective Services in your town and to the authorities for harassment. This has gone too far. Enough is enough. Followed by a second email where she clarifies, I don't believe a parent who spends all day online spreading bullshit and cyber harassing and getting high deserves to have children, so yes, I will make the call if I have to. Chantal likes to call the people who criticize her online terrible human beings, the lowest of the low. But what kind of person threatens to have a woman's children removed over some petty internet drama? And in what world does she get to decide who deserves to be a parent? No matter how you look at this threat, because that's what it is, Chantal comes off like an absolutely awful human being. Either she A, doesn't believe this woman should have her children taken away but wants to try and use CPS in order to threaten her into shutting up, or B, actually believes this woman is an unfit mother, but she'll hold off on calling Canadian CPS to save the children if the woman does what she says. Chantal uploaded an apology to Manakant, which was quickly removed, followed by a since-deleted video where she takes back the apology, doxes Manakant's full name, and says it was fair to threaten to call CPS since Manakant allegedly threatened to call immigration on Bibi.
In an email, I said to her, you know, you're gonna threaten me? Well, you know, I'm gonna call Child Protective Services on you. And you know what? I stand by that. I don't think that a parent who cyberbullies and harasses people online all day and makes usernames like Manicunt to harass people and gets high all day deserves to have kids, but that's just me.
Nothing ever materialized from Chantal's threats because, let's face it, if what she's doing is anything but stuffing her face with thousands of calories in one sitting, she's a complete, impotent failure. She's lucky the woman didn't report her threats to the Canadian government's legal system. In the same month, she posted a threatening comment on YouTuber Zachary Michael's video discussing her and Amberlynn Reed. The video doesn't contain content from her or Amberlynn's channel, it's simply Zach's hot take on why people are fed up with him. The thumbnail, however, uses her image. So if you don't take my pic out of your thumbnail, I will claim copyright because I am that bitch. You need my permission, which you do not have. And you're concerned about my mean comment, but have you seen the other comments below? By the way, your videos are painfully dry. Zach was not concerned by this, and she deleted the comment shortly thereafter without filing a claim. Her stomach may never be empty, but her threats always are. In June of 2018, Chantal uploaded a video discussing the suicide of a young girl named Julie Terryberry, who had her own thread on Kiwi Farms. It was plain to both her critics and her fans that she was simply feigning concern, exploiting this young girl's death in order to paint herself as the victim of a group of online cyberbullies who make fun of her for no other reason than her weight. Chantal then removed the video, only to have it re-uploaded by a parody channel called YouTube Drama. Chantal was quick to comment on the video, which today is still pinned to the comments section as she forgot to delete it. Sad how you are all more concerned with my motive for this video over the fact that an autistic 19-year-old killed herself. Go figure you would try and turn it around on me. It was labeled as entertainment because that is the default for all my video uploads. LOL. Anything to try and make me look bad. Anyways, your channel won't be up for long. Enjoy your YouTubey fame while it lasts. To which YouTube Drama replied, you really need to stop threatening everyone constantly. You threaten my channel, you threaten Kiwi Farms, you threaten your old friend with calling CPS. It really shows how very, very scared you are, waking up at every hour of the night, making sure someone somewhere hasn't written something bad about you online. If you bothered to find out anything about Julie, you know she tried killing herself even as a child. She was ill and Kiwi Farms had nothing to do with it. In fact, several posters intervened by calling the police when she threatened to commit suicide. This channel will continue to exist. I deleted the previous one that managed to gain many subscribers because I wanted to give you a break. No more though. Not after what you've done last night. I have all your deleted videos, nasty comments, threats, and everything you've ever posted online, and I'm coming for you. While she was within her rights to pull this video down with a DMCA, both their channel and the video remain up on YouTube today. And YouTube Drama did something Chantal never has, and followed through with her promise. Several months later, in August, she picked her next target, a parody channel called Spitting Drama Llama. They make parody videos out of clips from other YouTubers, a style of video which has become very popular in the mukbang/beauty genre. Most prominent mukbangers actually like, or at least understand the usefulness of this type of content, as the videos are great for spreading their name out there and driving views and new subscribers to their channel. And even if they don't like them, most YouTubers have enough brain cells to understand how fair use works and know that filing false claims can absolutely result in losing your channel. Chantal was not the only creator Spitting Drama Llama made videos about. In fact, she was more of a side note on the channel. The videos they make are not cruel or degrading. They are funny and lighthearted, like Trisha Paytas' I Love You Jesus, but the backing vocals are her mukbang noises, or Shane Dawson's cat possessed by Gordon Ramsay. Chantal, full of rage as a result of being criticized daily for the past year and a half for her poor choices and behavior, decided to take her fury out on someone who did absolutely nothing to deserve it, someone she thought she could bully, someone who was in fact actually helping to grow her channel. This became the first example in a long-lasting trend of Chantal abusing YouTube's copyright system. Spitting Drama Llama, being infinitely more mature than Chantal, reached out to her in her video comments section, informed her she did not have any ill will towards her, did not want to try and mediate, and had simply removed any and all videos which featured her content. What Chantal did here was a clear abuse of YouTube's copyright system. For the first channel I mentioned, she would have been within her rights to file a DMCA takedown, as a few of their videos are simply direct re-uploads of videos Chantal deleted with nothing transformative about them. But Spitting Drama Llama puts more than enough effort into her videos for them to be considered fair use. So why didn't she appeal the strikes? Well, as she says in Michael B. Petty's comments section, there's no way in hell she was going to give out her full name and address to Chantal. You see, YouTube doesn't handle any copyright disputes directly. When someone files a DMCA takedown of a YouTube video, they're telling YouTube, "This person has stolen my property and I'm willing to take them to civil court in order to have it removed." So YouTube, in order to avoid any liability, automatically removes the video. The owner of the video is then notified that they have received a copyright strike and are given two options, either accept the strike or file an appeal. In order to file an appeal, they must submit their full name and address for the person who filed the DMCA so that they can in turn file a lawsuit in order to have it resolved in court between the two parties, decided by a judge, independent of YouTube. The complainant then has 14 days to present proof to YouTube that they have filed a lawsuit, or the video will be restored and the claim automatically released. This is an issue for many content creators as they, unlike Chantal, like to keep their personal lives and their YouTube channels separate. Thus, it allows people like Chantal to bully them into silence. There's no doubt in my mind that if Spitting Drama Llama would have filed a counterclaim, that Chantal would not have followed through. But there is an extremely high chance that she would have doxed them, so I completely understand why they didn't delete their videos and accepted the strike. Not a week goes by where Chantal doesn't complain about being bullied on the internet, yet no one has ever done anything like this to her. People just talk about her and poke fun at her. She abused a necessary loophole in YouTube's copyright system in order to try and have someone's channel and potentially their livelihood taken away for absolutely no reason. Of course, after she cooled down and read the very polite comments from Spitting Drama Llama, Chantal put out one of her worthless, insincere apologies. "Hey guys, I've been in a very negative place lately and have said things I regret, and as a result, I would just like to sincerely apologize for the following. I've let myself focus on what others were thinking and saying about me, rather than what I was thinking about myself. I could have been way ahead in the goals I said I was going to do, and instead have focused on nothing but negativity and retaliation. I want to make great content for you guys, and I want to help people. I want to live a non-selfish existence, and I want to live a life of honesty and integrity. The past year has been the darkest for me, but it has also been the most teaching. Does that make sense? LOL. I am sorry for continually being negative and mean-spirited towards other viewers and content creators. I am sorry for making promises I have not been able to keep. I am sorry for raging against others who have made videos about me. Two wrongs don't make a right, and as a YouTuber, when people talk about me, which will inevitably happen, I should ignore it and continue to focus on those who love me. I have not handled nor accepted criticism from others, which is not a good or mature way to be. I will see you guys in the next video." This obviously did nothing to repair the damage that she had done both to Spitting Drama Llama's channel and her own reputation. And deep down, the fact that she scared someone into taking down their video just emboldened her, because a few weeks later she followed through with her previous thread and filed a copyright strike against Zachary Michael. And, as you may have guessed by the name of his channel, he wasn't such an easy target. Chantal hit him with one strike in the morning and another strike in the evening, but before she could hit him with a third and potentially have his channel terminated, he privated all videos about her, saving him from the additional headache of having his channel reinstated. After striking the video, Chantal uploaded a video where she addressed the situation, and then, you guessed it, she promptly deleted it. Luckily, I found an archive. I absolutely love this video. If I had to pick one video from Chantal's massive catalog to demonstrate why she is a quintessential lolcow, it would be this one. To begin with, she lets the audience know that she's absolutely shocked that people are dragging her into drama, something she would never seek out on her own.
For some reason, I'm at the center of this, controversy, this drama. People love to bring drama to me. Even though I've said I'm done with it, I don't know why I'm being involved in drama.
She then proceeds to tell the audience how she just set off a nuclear drama bomb.
And yeah, I filed copyright on this YouTuber today because, you know what, I've had enough. And you know what, I warned you a long time ago that I was that kind of person, and I was coming for you with that. You know, you had a choice to stop uploading my videos, and you didn't. So
she then reveals that she has absolutely no idea how YouTube's copyright system works.
And those who are saying it's fair use, it's not fair use if they striked him. We'll see if he can get them reversed or not, but...
Can you imagine being so lazy that you unwittingly enter into a legal dispute because reading through YouTube's guide on copyright or watching videos explaining it is just too much work? She then explains that she's only doing this because the videos portray her in a negative light.
You can't upload someone's entire video and use it as a form of defamation, because it does make my video, you know, it puts it in a more negative light by
reacting to it that way, because you're reacting to it negatively and you're monetizing on it.
Absolutely beautiful. An outright admission that she abused YouTube's copyright system. But she then gets down to her true motive. Her anger that Zach's and channels like his get more views than her original videos. Undeniable proof that the vast majority of her subscribers are only there to hate watch her.
You know, I'm not saying this to be mean, but it's the truth. Your other videos make maybe 1,000 views per and less, but whenever you mention mine or Amber Lynn's name, you get like more views than I do.
But it's not just that he's making more money than her by laughing at her antics. Oh no. Things have gotten downright criminal.
I see these people who continually come at me. It's just like, it's to a point where it's like stalker behavior and harassment. And I'm starting to wonder if it's even legal.
And you'll be reported to the cyber police and the state police.
Quick, someone call the FBI. We've got a case of YouTube harassment. You know, we better take a look at one of these heinous crimes that Zach committed. Brace yourself. What you're about to see may be shocking.
Nah, girl, just stop eating the ranch, especially if it's gonna make you poop yourself, or poop your pants, or not be able to control your bowels, or whatever. Sis, ma'am.
As I get the runs.
I don't know about you, but I won't be able to sleep at night until this man is behind bars. Absolutely terrifying. The rest of the video is just Chantal literally begging for a hug box.
If you don't like my content, why in the hell are you watching it? Do you not realize that makes you look crazy? I just don't understand the hate. I just want it to stop. And I just want people to stop talking about me.
In her mind, she thinks that she's above reproach and that anyone criticizing her in a way that she doesn't approve of should be subject to being deplatformed. Her advice of, if you don't like it, then just don't watch, which she's been repeating for years at this point, is actually sage-like in its wisdom. The only problem with it is the fact that she should be saying it into a mirror instead of a camera. Well, to the surprise of no one who's been on the internet for more than 5 minutes, Chantal's attempt to get people to stop talking about her had the exact opposite effect. If you look at Zach's social blade, you'll see a noticeable spike in subscribers and views during the month she filed the false copyright strikes. He doubled both his views and subscribers that month, and his channel has been growing like crazy ever since. He handled the situation exactly how you should when someone comes at you with empty threats. He called her bluff, filed a counter notice, and she, realizing she would have to pursue legal action and follow through with the strikes, immediately released her claims. Her response to the entire situation? Update on the whole issue with a certain someone using my entire video and theirs to react and claim it as fair use, and then I am done giving any attention whatsoever to these parties. You won. YouTube emailed me, and this person feels it necessary to counterclaim with fair use and is giving me 10 days to prove that I am filing a lawsuit to keep the copyrighted material off, or they may reinstate the videos. A lawsuit? Putting money and more effort into this? No thanks. If you want to be one of those YouTubers who makes a name off of someone else's, go for it. Have fun talking amongst yourself. I have a life to better and fans to entertain. I don't know about you, but it sounds like she just gave permission for anyone to make videos about her. Thank you, Chantal. I really love how shocked she is that someone who claimed their video was fair use would have the audacity to file a counterclaim under fair use. It's as if she's so used to not following through with anything she ever starts that she can't wrap her head around the idea that some people actually mean what they say. In response to a comment suggesting she set up a GoFundMe to bankroll a lawsuit, which I would absolutely love to see, she says she's emailed YouTube to complain. It really is amazing that after going through this entire process, she still doesn't understand that YouTube plays no part in deciding what constitutes fair use. After this, things take a break on the false DMCA front for Chantal. In December of 2018, Noel, the owner and operator of Kiwi Farms, hosts a live stream where he watches, reacts, and gives his take on Chantal and her content. He specifically makes a point to make sure the stream is not bullying, knowing full well that Chantal will use anything she can in order to strike a blow at the website.
So, before I go further, Chantal is actually a bully, and we are not a bully stream. We're just talking amongst ourselves here, and really, I would prefer it if Chantal never saw this video.
Now, there's a reason that this video didn't get taken down from a false DMCA, and it's not because Chantal learned her lesson. It's because Noel, like Zachary Michael, isn't afraid to file a counterclaim, and he preempted the video by telling her exactly what would happen if she tried.
This is my address. If you want a DMCA strike me, this is where you send the paperwork, and I absolutely we'll fight in court. And if you DMCA strike my channel, I will contest it. And if you don't take me to court after doing that, you will get a strike against your channel for abusing the DMCA system. So just don't.
The stream performed extremely well, reaching nearly 2,000 concurrent viewers, about 10 times the amount of viewers Chantal brings in for one of her own streams. Unfortunately, a few days later it would be taken down due to a community guideline strike for bullying and harassment, and subsequently re-uploaded by many channels. Chantal was on a break from YouTube at this time, and her first response to the stream was flippant dismissal. A short time later, she posted to her community tab revealing her true feelings, that she was absolutely devastated by the stream. She lets her subscribers know that she had reported the video and would no longer be using YouTube as a platform, as she believed that it was facilitating bullying and harassment. She also claimed that Kiwi Farms was responsible for the deaths of 3 women, which Null addressed and disproved in the stream itself.
In case you're wondering, Julie Terryberry did not kill herself because of the Kiwi Farms. Julie Terryberry was basically an orphan. I think both of her parents were drug addicts or something, and she stayed in the custody of her grandmother. And she had this toxic relationship with her boyfriend. And every time he threatened to leave her, he threatened to leave her, she threatened to kill herself. And eventually he did leave her and she did kill herself. And that's what it was about. It had nothing to do with the fucking forum. What really, we've had two people who had threads kill themselves. And what annoys me about that is when it happens, we've never been blamed in a suicide note. Nobody gives a shit. But with the reaction from virtue signalers in particular, they like to take what was actually wrong with those people and make it about a forum.
This was followed up mere moments later with a post saying that the haters actually give her energy, that she would not be leaving, and was in fact eager to provide them with more content. During the same time period Null's channel was struck, a few parody accounts were hit with similar community guideline strikes, and she was quick to post to her community tab that this time she was not responsible. Some of her more sycophantic fans, or more likely her sock accounts, replied that they were the ones who were striking the videos, which Chantal took great joy from. Among these channels was KDW, who actually lost her channel due to false flags. And I say false flags because a month later, her channel was fully reinstated after an extensive review from YouTube. I have a theory, and it's just my theory, mind you, that after this, Chantal became basically impotent when it comes to community guideline strikes. Unlike copyright, YouTube directly handles community guideline strikes, and as a result, the one striking the video enjoys the privilege of anonymity. Chantal, despite what she may claim at any given time, reports every video about her for bullying and harassment, regardless of the content of the video. After all, this is a woman with no job who spends all day moderating every comment on her channel of almost 60,000 subscribers. And while her status as a big YouTuber would have at first given her strikes enough weight to actually affect change, YouTube will only put up with so many false strikes before they stop responding to your complaints altogether, not even bothering to review the content. Again, this is just my harebrained theory, but it really makes the most sense to me, because after the striking spree in early 2019, to my knowledge, none of the videos made about her have received community guideline strikes despite her numerous threats and promises to hit multiple different creators. I believe the lack of results from her manic flagging is the reason why she continues to abuse YouTube's copyright system today. Following the trend of her entire life, 2019 has not been a good year for Chantal. She uploaded a New Year's resolution video which was met with overwhelming disapproval. It was lost when she went on her recent channel purge of all health-related videos, but in it she details her new plan to take control of her health: water fasting. She believed this would heal her ovarian cysts and help her to lose weight. The majority of comments were quick to point out that this was completely insane. However, she pinned a comment proclaiming the benefits of fasting as a cure-all. If you're curious as to whether the fast worked to cure all of her ailments, no, it did not. Before I go on, I want to clarify that while the channels I cover going forward call themselves reaction channels, what they're doing is more akin to commentary than the typical slack-jawed laughing at funny videos that comes to mind when someone hears reaction channel. While I didn't like them at first simply because they had react in their name, I've actually come to enjoy them. In April of this year, she threatened to strike a live stream on prominent reaction YouTuber Michael B. Petty's channel discussing Amberlynn Reed, called AmberCon 2.0. The stream had super chats turned off and instead requested viewers donate to the Trevor Project, a charity that seeks to provide support and intervention for LGBT youths who are at risk for suicide. Though the stream was explicitly about Amberlynn Reed, Chantal was worried about the fact that all the biggest reaction channels that cover her videos would be in one place at one time and would bring her up, thus the preemptive attempt at striking it down. Fortunately, her ability to strike channels had been significantly reduced, but, you know, it's the thought that counts, or rather it's the thought that demonstrates what a horrible person Chantal is. Remember that deleted video about Julie Terryberry, the girl Chantal claims was bullied to death by Kiwi Farms, the one she swore she wasn't using just to drum up sympathy for herself? Well, in that video, she says this.
If you've ever been to Kiwi Farms or anything like that, and contribute to that, or are entertained by that, you're disgusting. You're a horrible human being. Like, make the whole forum about me. I don't care. Just leave other people alone.
That's right. Chantal, protector of the children, was just months ago willing to have all of Kiwi Farms dedicated to her if it meant saving everyone else. She was willing to be obese Jesus. But when it came time to put her money where her mouth was, she decided she would rather that kids at risk of suicide not get the help they needed if it meant a few people were going to gossip about her on a live stream for half an hour. Chantal struck the stream during one of her meltdowns. She had gone through one of her cycles in record time, uploading a video called My Weight Loss Doctor's Plan Is Not For Me, where she decides that the doctor specializing in obesity and eating disorders doesn't know what he's doing, instead opting for a book called The Medical Medium, by a man who, quote, is a medium who offers medical advice based on an alleged communication with the spirit of compassion. The man's advice had her switch to a vegan diet, and she immediately began extolling the moral superiority and health benefits of her new lifestyle, as well as raging against the way modern medicine treats clinical obesity, but changed her mind in the span of a day.
So here's what happened. I woke up today starving, and I was cold, and so I was cold and hungry. I get up, come to the table, look at all this unripe fruit, and I almost wanted to cry. So I ordered some Greek food, and I really promise not to start anything that I'm not going to finish. If I do something, I'm going to do it behind the scenes, and I'm only going to tell you guys if I've been successful for a little while at it. I promise. I know I've said that before too. And I know it makes me look like a hypocrite because I'm going to eat chicken and about what I said the other day. And I guess maybe I am, you know?
The backlash from this was so great that she uploaded a short video with a black screen and text informing her viewers that she was quitting YouTube. She did not. In fact, she returned the same day with a community post, her resolve to change stronger than ever. A few days later, on the 18th of April, she watches a documentary called Dominion, which exposes the horrors of factory farming, and it shakes her to her very core. So moved is she by the plight of these poor animals that she decides to go full vegan with no looking back, complete with Instagram posts full of obnoxious moral superiority mere days after committing to this radical change in her life. Unfortunately, this sudden air of moral superiority and condescension earned her a less than warm welcome into the vegan community, and many people started to question her level of commitment. Specifically, why she still had all the videos in which she'd consumed meat over the years publicly available and monetized. The question was signal boosted by Michael B. Petty, which triggered a nuclear meltdown.
And yeah, I don't know, like, I seen a comment from, like, somebody sent me a screenshot of this Michael B. Bully, and talking about how I should delete. I've been vegan again for 5 minutes, and I should delete all my videos that I had in the past, which is who I was before. I get income off those videos, and how about you delete all your videos of being a piece of crap and bullying people on the internet? Like, seriously. Just because you can see your dick again and lost weight doesn't mean that you can be an asshole to other people.
She cares so much about the little animals that she will proselytize all over social media for good boy points, advocating for the abolition of an industry that would cause the displacement of millions of workers. But God forbid she lose a single dime for her own participation in this horrible, systematic abuse of animals. Chantal's blood must have really started to boil after the heat she took, because on the 28th of April, she goes to the ER and is diagnosed with a pulmonary embolism. Many people speculated that her diagnosis was fabricated as a diversion from the criticism she was receiving, and on May 6th, she uploaded a video once again informing her audience that she was leaving YouTube because she just can't cope with the hate.
So this is not a clickbait video. I am leaving YouTube. I have
one more video to upload, and that will be the last one. I know a lot of you think I'll be back, but I honestly don't see that happening.
Which lasted all of 12 hours before she returned, at which point she started hemorrhaging subscribers, with even her long-term loyal fans finally growing tired of her constant failure to follow through with her commitments. About a week goes by with her continuing to gallivant as a vegan until the big reveal is dropped on the 16th of May, that she never even stopped eating animal products. In a futile attempt to mitigate the tidal wave of mockery coming her way, she pins a comment trying to downplay her fake vegan superiority in hopes of avoiding another wave of backlash. When confronted with her own hypocrisy, she said that there was no way she could have been shaming people about their dietary choices because it's impossible to make someone feel a certain way, which seems rather contradictory to her previous statements.
Bullying like that, constantly bullying somebody and harassing them, and just that type of psychological torment has the same effect on the brain. It's been proven scientifically that has the same effect on the brain as like years of emotional abuse.
As you can see, in the course of a few years, the Chantal cycle has gone from taking a few months to a few weeks, to a few days, to even a few hours in some cases to complete one revolution. As you can imagine, her dire health, her failure to make any meaningful changes to her diet, and the piss-poor way she treats her audience on a daily basis caused the criticism to ramp up to all-time highs, and her mental health deteriorated even further. On May 17th, she makes a community post informing her audience for the 10th or 15th time that she will no longer be talking about weight loss, followed by a video later that night where, through tears, she says that she's checking herself into the psych ER because she can't stop eating cheese.
After my 2 ounces of cheese was gone, I just, as if on autopilot, just kept eating and eating, and the thought of stopping and putting the rest of the cheese in the fridge was just not an option. I need to go down to the psyche merge because that's the only option at this point. I don't have anywhere else to turn to. I'm just so tired. I'm so tired of fighting this. I don't even want to do it anymore. I just want to just give up. And honestly, it's to a very unhealthy point, and I'm actually scared.
Many people have speculated that she seemed to be on some sort of opiate or drunk in this video, but there's no way of proving this, though I will say she does seem to be on something. She takes a 3-day break and returns delusional as ever. Her new diet plan is to eat what she wants and just count the calories.
But eliminating what I like to eat and eating only boring food actually seems to be counterproductive for me in a weird way. You know what I mean? A lot of people are concerned, like, you're not taking your health seriously. And I think actually in a weird way I am.
She praises the miraculous benefits of intermittent fasting while scarfing down 2 Crunchwrap Supremes, an order of fries Supreme, and a bag of cinnamon twists, all said around 1,800 calories. Her comments were quick to point out that her new diet wasn't a diet at all, and after pinning a comment where she rages at her critics, she disabled them altogether. Shortly thereafter, she uploads another meltdown video, telling people her diet is none of their business and that she knows what she's doing.
What about your blood clots and stuff like that? Again, that's my business. If I talk about it one day and then I decide not to talk about it another day, oh well, detach yourself from my life. You know, I don't want to binge because I got to have Taco Bell today. You know, I don't feel like eating more junk food today. I had my Taco Bell binge or whatever you want to call it, and I'm good. You know, I'm going right now to get some healthy groceries so I can have like fruit and some cucumbers later, and then I'm gonna make something healthy for the weekend. I'm gonna eat healthy on the weekend. These are things that you don't see, you know?
Sound familiar?
Here's the thing, okay? You only see me eat one meal. You don't see what I do the rest of the day. I know what I'm doing.
She also tacitly suggests that she hopes a woman who left her a mean comment has their child bullied in the future.
And it was somebody who had a picture of their child in their profile picture. Really. I really hope your child's not bullied someday. Really. But karma will get you.
She then once again threatens to strike reaction channels, with a specific reference to Zachary Michael, who responds directly.
So if you're going to be a reaction channel, and you're also, well, I may as well address this now, and you're going to re-upload my content, I'm going to strike you, because you don't have a right to do that. Seriously, this is not transformative. This is pausing every few minutes and complaining about something people already know, and then putting a few gorals in there. I'm sorry, but it's just gotten ridiculous.
We've been down this road before, Chantal. You want to strike my channel? You want to strike my channel? Do it! Because all that's going to do is make you look awful, because I already got your strikes overturned, sis. You tried this before and it didn't work. I will link it in this playlist below, sis. Ma'am.
Obviously, nothing came of this threat, except for more backlash and criticism. She continues to gorge herself unabashedly on fast food for about a week, and then on the 1st of June, uploads a video where she says that she's finally seeking treatment for her eating disorder and will no longer be filming mukbangs. Admits that her critics were right all along, and that her family hates her mukbangs.
I'm gonna be starting treatment on Monday, and for my eating disorder. So, should go without saying that there won't be any more mukbangs. I think that I keep reverting to mukbangs, keeping them on a back burner, and keep going back to them, sort of using them as an excuse to kind of feed my eating disorder. I think, you know, having criticism from an audience did actually help, so I will admit to that. I talked to some family who are very concerned about me and really hate these videos, hate the mukbangs, so...
3 days later, she fires up a live stream where she confesses that before she started rolling, she stopped by an Italian restaurant and ate an entire dish of carbonara, then went to KFC for some chicken wings and gravy. Some of you watching may be thinking, typical Canadian, they gotta dip everything in gravy. Well, unfortunately, the gravy wasn't for dipping. It was her beverage.
I drank a whole gravy. Like, I got gravy and I drank it like it was juice. Like...
Several days later, on the 10th of June, she goes live to once again express her frustration with reaction channels. In it, she specifically goes after a girl named Yaba, who runs a channel called the YouTube Underground.
Like, there's one now making videos about me, and it's like fat shaming, saying, like, I saw a comment like that she like made fun of my hands having rolls. Like, you're a fat shamer and you're a mother of two. Like, how disgusting are you?
Yaba was understandably angry that Chantal would bring up her parenting and warned her that if she continued to talk about her children, she wouldn't like the results.
You're taking this whole offline. You're taking this off YouTube. You're talking about my kids who aren't on YouTube. You're talking about my parenting, which you don't have a clue what goes on in my household. But because I'm a reaction channel and I react to your bullshit, that makes me a bad mom. You act like I'm sitting in front of a camera smoking crack or something. I don't know if you're aware, but the community that I come from, we don't really tolerate that bullshit. Because I don't have a huge channel and a huge following doesn't mean I don't have a big support group behind me, Chantal. And you know the drama community, I think you know how they play. They don't play fair. So if you want to take this off YouTube, if you want to go that route, keep talking about my kids, keep talking about my parenting. Because the last person that talked about my parenting, go take a look at where they're sitting at right now. So that's a warning to you.
For the next week, she films exercise videos, makeup tutorials, and healthy meals. On the 17th, she uploads a video where she goes for a walk and then does a grocery haul, revealing her purchase of several pounds of fresh fruit and vegetables, detailing her plans for daily salad and fruit intake. But also,
Saskatoon berry rhubarb pie. I have this for desserts, my dinners.
Many viewers picked up on this, and Yaba made a reaction video. The following day, Chantal uploaded a video addressing #Piegate, which I will now play you in full.
Hi guys, so there's a lot of talk about the pie. We still have it. And BB ate most of it. So I only had the one piece. Okay.
She deleted it almost immediately, then commented on Yaba's video, letting her know she was going to be filing a copyright strike. Yaba uploads a video response, promising that if Chantal managed to flag her video down, she would retaliate in the same fashion. Chantal leaves a comment on this video stating that if you use her content to bully her, she will file copyright claims, admitting to yet another blatant abuse of YouTube's copyright system. She does this for two reasons. One, to collect personal information on people who criticize her, And 2, for a sense of control. YouTube won't pull videos down that she reports for bullying and harassment, so she tries to do it herself by banking on Yaba not wanting to share her personal information. Unfortunately for Chantal, Yaba went with the power play and countered the claim, and she was forced to remove the strike. The next day, Chantal uploads a video accusing reaction channels of being ableist and discriminating against her.
This reaction video in particular, for example, that she was reacting to, I found to be very ableist. And ableist is basically, discriminating against somebody who doesn't have, based on their ability to do something, right? Am I describing that right?
This video is a double meltdown special with Pete's guest starring as her angry gimp.
Hello.
Also, if you really think people should be losing weight, making fun of the things they do in efforts to lose weight isn't helping.
At the end of the video, she promises for probably the 100th time that from this point going forward, she's going to ignore her critics, and to her credit, she mostly sticks to her word for the next 2 months. She finally seeks out treatment at an eating disorder clinic, meeting with an eating disorder doctor and a psychiatrist.
By the way, I love my doctor. He takes so much time with me.
For the first few weeks, she follows the doctor's diet of healthy foods and calories in, calories out, which she struggles with.
But I'm not going to do any specific diet. He just wants me to focus on not binging, watching calories, limiting, no fast food. But I did pick up a sub because I did a no-no and I kind of skipped breakfast today.
Then, out of nowhere, she decides she wants to try 30 days of a ketogenic diet against her doctor's wishes.
I think that I would really like to give keto a really good try. A really honest try, a really good try for 30 days.
This is especially ironic since she spent years railing against a ketogenic lifestyle, and the last time she saw a doctor to address her obesity, she quit seeing him because he wanted her to go low carb, opting instead to take the advice of the medical medium. She uses the fact that she can't control what she eats as an excuse, but when an expert lays out a custom plan for her, all of a sudden she thinks she's the one who should take the reins, that she knows what's best for her despite years of failed dieting. As you might expect, the keto diet was a complete failure. In order for the diet to work, you have to put your body into ketosis, which means that it uses fat instead of carbs for energy. The diet works for most people not because you can magically eat as much as you want and still lose weight, but because it naturally suppresses your appetite. Obviously, this is not the optimal diet for someone who doesn't eat based on signals from their body, but from how they are feeling emotionally. So right off the bat, we know she's going to overeat, but the worst part is the fact that you have to abstain from carbohydrates for at least a week for your body to go into ketosis, which is a feat far beyond Chantal's reach. She binges after the first 3 days, eating an entire tray of keto fudge and 2 meals from McDonald's. 8 days later, on day 11 of her journey, she cheats again and has what she claims was a single piece of cake, though it was likely much more. If she was even approaching ketosis at this point, she was summarily knocked out of it. 10 days later, on day 21, she posts to her community tab that, despite following the diet to a T, she's up 7 pounds. 2 days later, she uploads a video where she learns, upon reflecting on her food journal, that she's been overeating, and takes a urine ketone test to find that she's nowhere near ketosis. On July 31st, radical vegan YouTuber Freely the Banana Girl reveals that she will be doing a video on Chantal, and 2 days later, she releases it. The video is 30 minutes of a militant vegan completely tearing down every aspect of Chantal's diet and her health over the years. And at one point, she even suggests she's going to die soon if she doesn't get her diet in order.
Oh, so much cruelty on that plate. She just doesn't care. She made this claim about, I want to be vegan, I'm going to be plant-based, and it's been 8 times she's made this claim, and now she's eating the absolute worst heart attack food, cruelty food that I have seen in a long time. Seriously, this woman, I don't think she has that long left with us. She's going to be checking out soon.
Say what you will about crazy vegans, but I always enjoy someone who calls out a person who has co-opted their community for bragging rights and views. The video was much more critical than your typical reaction video, but when Chantal saw it, it seemed she really had learned her lesson, finally admitting that what all her critics had been saying for years was right, that she is, quote, a clearly conflicted individual that has a ton of excuses. August was a quiet month for Chantal, uploading rarely. The night Freely released her video, she checked into the ER due to a respiratory infection. She gets out of the hospital and releases a health update on the 14th, where she reveals that her recent tests show that her pulmonary embolism may still be in her lung and that her body may be riddled with cancer in her spleen, lungs, and ovaries. After this, she decides she's finally going to listen to her doctor, who wanted to terminate her from the program for not following the diet he prescribed over the past month. She takes a brief hiatus of a few days, and when she returns at the end of August, she reveals she will be undergoing a total hysterectomy on October 2nd due to her potentially cancerous cysts, something she could have probably avoided had she had them removed instead of trying to cure them with water fasting and other health advice from someone who consults spirits to naturally heal serious illnesses. Shortly after this, she makes a post on her community tab asking her fans if she should go back to mukbanging healthy meals that fit within her diet, which is met with a resounding no. You're in treatment for food addiction, you've been diagnosed with binge eating disorder, you might have cancer, you're going in for major surgery, and mukbanging is what got you here. She then makes a follow-up post thanking her fans for helping her see reason, and then promptly follows up that post by announcing that despite their feedback, she's changed her mind and is going to go back to mukbanging but no fast food, only healthy, home-cooked meals. It's the same old tune. For real guys, this time it'll work. I know I failed my diets every time because I never stopped mukbanging, and earlier this month I said I don't want to promote obesity anymore and that mukbangs are self-harm that shouldn't be monetized on YouTube. But really, this time, it'll work. On September 1st, she rolls right back into her huge plates of healthy food for mukbangs and tells a story about her visit to the Psych Emerge. In the story, she talks about another patient having a mental breakdown. The woman was Arabic, and Chantal did an impression of her that many thought was both racist and insensitive to her mental illness, something Chantal had been talking candidly about struggling with for the past few months.
She's like...
This caused a wave of backlash in her comments, and the next day, she decides once again that she's quitting YouTube, railing against reaction channels after 2 whole months of peace.
I'm bitter because I'm just grossed out by how people on social media are, and I'd rather just... My life is consumed by living in a world full of these people. Like, every day I have to deal with it, and I'm not strong enough to. I just don't want to. It's not that I'm not strong enough, it's just I just can't. I'm just gonna, like, log off and live my life among people in my reality.
Remember, when Freely called her out for behavior, she took it in stride. But when smaller channels do it, it's bullying and an excuse to quit YouTube and her diet. But this time, she was serious. This time, she was going to take Tyler the Creator's advice and just walk away. Of course, the next day she uploaded a video titled I'm Impulsive, tearing apart a slab of ribs and a baked potato alongside Pete's, with a newfound resolve to ignore the hate.
I guess I just shouldn't care. Like, I should just do what I want, what makes me happy. Because no matter what I do, there's always going to be somebody who disagrees with it or has something to say about it. And what you really have to just do is just whatever,
Though in a follow-up community post, she says she will still be deleting and blocking hate comments. Not sure why she would get any hate. Would it be the fact that she just left YouTube and returned in the span of a day for the dozenth time? Or the fact that she quit her diet to pig out on ribs? Certainly neither of those. No reasonable person would be annoyed by that. Well, her newfound resolve to ignore the hate lasted just long enough for everyone to make videos about her quitting and coming back again, at which point she uploaded a Category 5 meltdown about reaction channels.
Because this community of people that I'm referring to, for years now that I've been on YouTube, they've been regurgitating the same drama in a live stream over and over and over like schoolyard children. I've had enough of the harassment, honestly. I'm being very serious. I've had enough of the BS where it's like, you attack someone's kids, you talk about someone's kids, it's always someone's kids. Like, what about the disgusting comments you're just leaving for me? But that's okay, right? I can't even believe I'm addressing this. That's how stupid it all is.
She spends a good majority of the video bizarrely imploring her critics to imagine that she was their kid and to ask themselves how they would feel if their child was getting the hate she did.
If your child went on YouTube and had the kind of harassment that Amber Lynn or I get, all these parody channels, all these horrible comments, you would go off.
As if any parent would be more concerned that their kid was being criticized on the internet instead of the fact that they were 35 years old with no job, potentially full of cancer, morbidly obese, and quickly eating themselves into an early grave with a major life-changing surgery coming up in a month. Her lack of self-awareness and unwillingness to own any of the criticism she receives for the poor decisions she has repeatedly made is truly incredible. I spend a lot of time on the internet researching interesting people like Chantal. people with communities dedicated to criticizing the things that they do online, documenting the entire crash and burn of their lives in real time, and I've yet to come across one that didn't deserve the negative attention they were receiving. Chantal is no different. She goes silent for a few days before posting on her community tab on September 8th about reaction channel Charlie Gold. Charlie made a video about her leaving and returning within the span of a day and the state of her health, very similar in nature to the Freely the Banana Girl video that Chantal took with such poise and grace. There were no jokes at her expense, just really solid analysis and advice. Most of the things she brought up, Chantal had admitted herself, namely the fact that as a food addict with binge eating disorder, mukbangs are self-destructive and will lead her to relapse, words practically out of Chantal's mouth from a few months prior.
My problem that that I now have is for her to return to mukbangs when claiming she's been diagnosed with an eating disorder is beyond problematic.
In the post, Chantal is furious about two things: Charlie's video being more popular than the channels she reacts to, and the fact that Charlie is an obese woman who is steadily losing weight, saying that just because she's lost a few pounds doesn't mean she has the right to talk about obese people and their struggles, essentially engaging in the fat shaming she routinely complains about receiving herself. As opposed to this call-out magically making reaction channels stop talking about it, it obviously just drew even more negative attention her way. Later that same day, after a video about her latest feud was uploaded by reaction channel Michael B. Petty, Chantal makes a community post announcing she has deleted all of her mods and disabled all of her comment filters, because she's no longer worried about what others think, and she's at peace with the fact that she's going to be disliked and criticized no matter what she does. Followed rapid fire an hour later with a post asking why when reaction channels give her criticism, people agree and enjoy the content, but when she does it back to them, people bring her nothing but hate and disapproval. The answer to which is obviously the fact that they have two things she never will: good points and an entertaining personality. This post was followed immediately by a community tab poll on whether her audience wants her to quit YouTube or not, and after a landslide victory of yes, leave, she made a post announcing that she was quitting YouTube, coincidentally on the 5-day anniversary of the last time she quit. Moments later, she deletes her entire community tab and immediately fills it up with a post saying that all her critics need help, and I must say that as a woman who has mental health issues herself, she really doesn't have the right to be criticizing the mental health of others. Then she makes another post calling Charlie a bully, which earns her another video from Charlie. And this time, things are a little different from the constructive, respectful criticism of the last video.
I personally take too much time to do my makeup, to do my hair, to get dressed, to just simply roll around in mud with a pig.
Charlie explains in the video that the reason she makes the content she does is because she sees herself in these bigger women, because she used to be the same way. She wants to not only show others how this poor lifestyle can affect them, but also to keep herself accountable, as she knows she would look like the biggest hypocrite in the world if she were to gain all the weight back after criticizing others for not taking their health seriously, and rightly suggests that Chantal's anger is just a projection of how she really feels about herself.
I don't believe she's truly upset with me per se. I think she's more upset with herself, that she couldn't accomplish a quarter of the things that I've been doing.
Shortly after Charlie's video is released, she announces that she is not doing well and will be staying offline for a while. She stays away for 4 whole days before finally making her graceful return, refreshed and with a new outlook on life. And by that I mean she says she's not sorry for what she said, just the way she said it, and stuffs her face with poutine pizza, which, according to her, is now part of her new diet because, in her words, depriving herself of bad food will just trigger her to binge and is counterproductive, which, amazingly, has worked wonders. She hasn't binged since, and she's now down over 100 pounds and counting. Yeah, sorry, misread my notes. Actually, she went home that night and binged on so much cheese that she believed she needed to go to the ER for severe diarrhea, really getting the most out of Canada's healthcare system. After some pretty overwhelming backlash, she decides not to go to the hospital and apologizes for her impulsive insanity. That impulsive insanity continues when Chantal picks her next target. A young woman battling cancer uploads a video addressed directly to Chantal during a visit to the hospital to receive treatment. In it, she details all the numerous treatments she's undergone due to a battle with an illness she did nothing to bring on herself.
You know, you mention all the time that you got deficiencies, that you have addiction, food binging, whatever. And all the complaints that you have, and you have your health. That's what I know. And at 34, I was diagnosed with cancer. And at 36, I'm still dealing with it. So when you complain about cancer and your food addiction and that you might have this and you might have that. PCOS is nothing like this. So before you stuff your face again and then complain that you might have this and you might have diarrhea and you're going to the ER, I want you to see for 5 seconds what a daily treatment is like here, because they're about to start my injections for iron, and I actually do have an iron deficiency because of the bone marrow transplant that I had to have to live, and this is my daily life. And I have a port in my chest, I've had PICC lines, I've had chemo treatments that have made me lose my hair multiple times. I have endured more pain than you have in your life, physical-wise, health-wise, at a very young age, due to nothing that I brought on myself. So before you complain next time and you set your tray up in your car and you complain about whatever you're going through and that you just can't live without donuts and Chinese and pizza and mukbangs, this is the reality. This is reality. This is real life. Not some diarrhea crap that you bring on yourself. I'm just saying.
I love this video because it comes from someone who is actually suffering from an illness that they played no part in. So it holds much more weight than someone like me who tells Chantal that obviously her compulsive need to eat isn't equivalent to someone with a disability or an illness. If anything would finally get this concept to click in Chantal's head, it would be hearing it from someone battling cancer. Chantal's response was so unbelievable that I had to check and make sure it wasn't a troll account. It was not. OMFG, you are such a hateful woman. Stop comparing your health to that of others. Once again, wise words for Chantal, if only she said them into a mirror. Responding like a petulant child to reaction channels who laugh at her is one thing, but to respond like this to some girl with cancer and less than 300 subscribers who is upset about her squandering her opportunity to be healthy, she truly is rotten to the core. I mean it. Chantal is a bad person. After this little meltdown, she once again nixes all talk of weight-related content from her channel and returns to her regularly scheduled grotesque mukbangs, weight loss goals, and upcoming hysterectomy be damned. She announces she's never doing weight loss again and begins going full body positivity, because if you can't get healthy, just say that you're healthy and that's basically the same thing. When Chantal is in this manic, perpetually binging rage mode, she becomes prime material for reaction channels. Zachary Michael makes a video about her, which she responds to in her community section and promptly deletes. As her hysterectomy date looms near, she shows no sign of slowing her on-camera binges despite her doctor's order of a liquid diet. The criticism ramps up to 11, and in a fit of manic rage, she deletes over 6 million views worth of videos, all diet-related, citing the fact that she has been on toxic diet cycles, which is true, but only because she never stuck to them, and her new plan of eating whatever she wants certainly isn't what any sane person would call an improvement. With her surgery days away, one would assume she wouldn't feel the need to start another fire, but immediately after she deletes her videos, she makes a community post about Biggest Mikey, a relatively small YouTube channel who had been doing reaction videos about her. She calls him a bully, brings up his weight, and announces her intention to strike him along with any and all reaction channels from this point going forward. Reaction channel, Life of a Free Spirit, advises Chantal against going after Mikey, as it will obviously cause people to retaliate against her. And Chantal lets her know that her channel is in the crosshairs as well. Instead of cowering in fear from Chantal, Life of a Free Spirit reports her to YouTube for blatant harassment. Her prediction that people will come after her is true, as Zachary Michael uploads a video discussing her fat shaming and threatening to strike Mikey, and Mikey laughs it off as his sub count literally doubles overnight due to the attention Chantal has brought to his video. The day of her surgery rolls around, and to the shock of no one, it's cancelled.
Hey guys, so I have some kind of bad news, I guess. So they canceled my surgery.
She says it was due to the surgeon needing to reschedule, but the majority of viewers speculated that it was because of her poor health or because she never scheduled it at all, which causes her to make a seething community post telling everyone to grow up, followed by a post saying she is going to keep her personal life off of YouTube, followed immediately by a post showing her pre-surgery papers as proof that everyone else is crazy, not her. She then rolls right back into mukbanging without missing a step. In fact, her meals are bigger than ever. She manages to go 5 days without bringing her surgery up before putting it back on the table as a topic again, posting a lengthy video going into detail about why her surgery was canceled and promising that it's been rescheduled. Chantal manages to maintain her composure for a surprising few weeks, no doubt feeding her anger with tens of thousands of calories worth of fast food. But as reaction channels begin flowing in with dozens of videos, she once again snaps. She uploads a Halloween special video where she talks about the Heaven's Gate cult's mass suicide while stuffing her face with chunks of bread and cheese, gulping it all down with a big old glass of wine. Chantal has this nasty habit of talking with her mouth full, and sometimes she pauses mid-sentence to take a bite and chew for upwards of a minute. She also tends to laugh at things that others would find morbid or mundane. People were particularly upset that she flashes pictures of the dead bodies across the screen and made a few jokes at the expense of the dead cult members. Chantal responds by making a community post where she threatens to strike all reaction channels again for bullying, but with a copyright strike instead of community guideline strikes because she still doesn't understand how anything works. The next day, she begins threatening Charlie Gold specifically, once again commenting on her weight, angry that she would dare shame a fellow fat woman. You know, I'm starting to see a pattern here. The last 3 people Chantal has threatened to strike have all been black. It really makes you think. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. A few days go by with no signs of channels being taken down by community strikes, so Chantal once again takes matters into her own incapable hands and announces she plans to file a lawsuit against Charlie Gold. Finally, she's going to use YouTube's copyright system as it was intended and lose all of her money in court, only to have all of the videos remain up as they are unequivocally fair use. She deletes this post in record time, replacing it with a message that she's now taking time away from YouTube to decompress, which she also quickly deletes. A few hours later, she files a copyright strike against Charlie's video called Foodie Beauty's Out of Breath Mukbang Reaction, but lifts it before Charlie even has time to file a counterclaim. Then uploads a post complaining about reaction videos and how she believes they are not fair use because they cast her in a negative light, which tells me that she still hasn't even ever read the definition of fair use as it explicitly covers criticism. The only important part of her post is this. How is that fair? They never provide any constructive criticism and comment on every single thing we do, and they do all this without consequence. Unfortunately, unless you are willing to take things to court, there's not much that can be done, so for now, I just have to try and ignore it, but that's okay. I'll wait. This is the 4th time Chantal has filed a copyright claim with no intention of following through with it. The 4th time she has knowingly abused YouTube's copyright system to try and shut down someone because she didn't like what they had to say. Chantal, you keep saying fair use, but it doesn't mean what you think it means. Fair use doesn't mean people are allowed to use your content only if you think it's fair. They get to use it according to what the law thinks is fair. And the law explicitly covers criticism. Not just good criticism, whatever that means, criticism, period. You aren't the arbiter of what people are allowed to say about you. And if you keep abusing YouTube's copyright system, I promise you, you're gonna lose your channel. That isn't a threat. That's the reality of the situation. Much bigger YouTubers have gone down for the very same thing. Despite stating that she won't be taking anyone to court, she goes right over to Charlie's comment section and threatens her with legal fees right after the post, and Charlie encouraged her to follow through, which is the correct move. No one should be scared of Chantal. I know I'm certainly not. She can file a false copyright strike against me if she feels like it. I'll gladly milk that for content for years to come. I'll also make sure YouTube goes through and checks every single time she's abused the copyright system and community guidelines to try and bully people into silence. But I have a feeling she won't be hitting me anytime soon, as I am neither black nor fat. Chantal's downward spiral shows no signs of slowing. In fact, it seems to be escalating at an alarming pace. As I was finishing up this video, she appeared in news articles all over the web in regards to her Heaven's Gate Halloween video. The first article was published by BuzzFeed News entitled, "A YouTuber's Halloween-themed food video about a mass suicide is causing a debate online," where she claimed she was being singled out unfairly for criticism. The article shared tweets from others critical of the video, but all in all, it remained neutral. I'm about 90% sure Chantal reached out to BuzzFeed herself in a bid to expose her critics for what she believes in her deranged mind to be bullying. One day later, a second article was released by Insider originally titled, "YouTuber Criticized for Eating Cheese While Talking About Mass Suicide," which, as you may have guessed by the title, wasn't as even-handed as the first. which is probably why the article was swiftly changed to a YouTuber deleted a video which showed her talking about mass suicide while eating cheese, but she called much of the criticism false outrage. And where I'm 90% sure Chantal is the one who reached out to BuzzFeed, I'm 90% sure Michael B. Petty reached out to Insider, and I really hope that's true, because the entire article reads like one of his videos. It includes numerous quotes from Michael directly, exposing Chantal for her true nature, and even includes the fact that she filed a false copyright strike against Charlie Gold. The author really went out of their way to expose the real Chantal. My favorite excerpt is, "I do think, like anything else online, sometimes backlash can get quite nasty, and I usually try to block this for my health and for the health of my channel," she said, adding that she thinks Michael is hypocritical for calling her out when he fat shames her. Michael refuted this claim and said this is how Chantal responds to criticism. He said taking down the video is very typical, and when she does something wrong, she tries to hide all evidence of anyone wrongdoing. As well as, Chantal barely spent any time talking about the people that were involved in the crime, and while talking about the mass suicide of people, stopped to give her review of how amazing her pumpkin-spiced aged cheddar tasted. It really never fails that when Chantal attempts some sort of offensive move against her critics, things come back at her tenfold. And with that final story, I have to cap off this video before she does something else that bears mentioning, because it's a guarantee that she will. As the cycle turns, we can expect more and more erratic behavior out of Chantal until it comes to a crescendo and she admits that she's been in a really dark place and needs to take her health more seriously. Thus, the cycle begins again. Who knows what diet she will fail this time? Whose video she will strike next? I think Chantal's story really caught my interest in a way no other subject has because of its cyclical nature. It reminds me of my favorite series of books, The Wheel of Time. However, unlike the novels, the wheel, her cycle in this case, will be broken. But it will not be done by any hero, for there's no protagonist in this story. It will be done by Chantal herself, since she is absolutely, undeniably incapable of changing her own behavior. She will file another false DMCA, and another until YouTube inevitably terminates her channel. At which point, the cycle will be born anew in her kitchen, where she films mukbang videos on a camcorder and mails hard copies to everyone she knows, taking her rage out on the few people left around her. God have mercy on them. Pete's, BB, Mama and Grandma Chantal, I'm praying for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. In all likelihood, it will get demonetized, so if you want to help me produce more content, you can throw me a few bucks on Patreon. I only charge when I put out a video where I spent a significant amount of time on research, scripting, and editing, so you don't need to worry about giving me a monthly payment for sitting around and doing nothing. If I'm not making anything, I don't want to be paid. Until next time, you can follow me on Twitter at NotToadMcKinley or add me on Steam. A big thanks to my patrons who made this possible. Sorry about forgetting to add your credit sequence in the last video. Hopefully soon I'll come up with some more interesting tier rewards. In the meantime, you can check out some of the channels I feature on my page. They all put out great content.
You know what? Fuck it. I keep reaching from here.